Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again. And for those of you who have not been following us, we just finished having a very interesting discourse with a very, very interesting guest, Dr. Tony. I will advise, if you didn't follow that broadcast before you make your comment today, maybe you should go take a stepping of that, stepping or whatever. Okay, go take a sneak preview into what he discussed, so that you can have you know an understanding of what kind of question you're going to ask. All we're going to do, my job is totally cut out for me, and just to ask your reaction to what he has said, and then we can expand on that or close in on that, or maybe just end the show when that is answered. But you're welcome, and I will go ahead and invite people in. I will not want to waste much time since this is an abridged version. I see my brother Tony is right behind. I see Femi. I see Bob Chisco. I thought I saw Kenneth somewhere here. Okay, but you are welcome. We had a very useful time. And throughout when he was talking, I was laughing because some of what he has said, some of what he has been saying, is what some of us have said here, but we were attacked and called all kinds of names. Especially when he was answering the question on if Nigeria has been Islamized, and I said on this panel there are four basic indices that you look at to know whether a country is Islamized or not, and all those four have been taken. And he has also alluded to that. Whether that is true or not, whether that is his opinion or not, time will tell. You are all welcome. Also, he touched on almost every hot issue right now in Nigeria, especially the one of Urome. And that's you see, my challenge here is this, and I don't want people to misquote me. My challenge here is this: every life matters. If people are being, untimely sent to go and meet their Heavenly Father, and you don't make any, no qualms about it, and then certain individuals, the same thing happened to them, and the whole nation is called to on alert, one begins to wonder, is one person's life more important than the other? One begins to wonder. So that is what we are cut out to discuss today. And so as you begin to sharpen your ideas and whatever you want to contribute to it, I'd like you to listen to a very young, beautiful lady whose song is merely advising us, Okudili, onye keria. Listen to her, and then we'll come back and discuss.
Okudili, nye kelani yo. Olisa malugo mkoye nemenenua. Okudili, nye kelani yo. Chukuna malugo yo biadi yo cha. Agaranya chogo kowe bili, agaranya chogo kowe rienio. Owe chuku bezie chuku. Nuche chukwa busigi fege meo, nuche chukwa busia ifege meo. Ni fosolo ne ase alibazie. Oboye bebe agaranya muliba, oboye wuru agaranya mebibe solea, mano agaranya mua, oboye afiozie ni pakwa. Agaranya chogo kowe bili, agaranya chogo kowe rienio. Owe chikubezio lisa. Kodili ma, kodili bemo, kodili wakema, kodili wanima. Naino kwane we beluge beluo. Kodili ma, kodili bemo, kodili kemo, kodili heyo. Ibedwe me wanem, nikadiezi bohimo.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's dive right into it. I was looking for another video, but it's not coming up. So maybe in the course of it, I will get to that. Yes, Tony, can we hear your view on what you have heard so far from Dr. Tony? What's your view? What do you make of all he has said?
I greet you, my brother KJ. Tony is a radical, because his uncle, his late uncle, had told me about him many years ago. He holds the title of Odogwu of Ibusa, which means Generalissimo. So you can see that in the things that he said and his stance, he's a warrior, apart from that, this is an academician written over 12, 13 books, publications in a lot of historical journals, academic journals, and appearances, papers, and appearances here and there on various media. No doubt, this is a man who is firm, deliberate, and sticks to his opinion. I asked a question that I asked him a question that I thought bothered me over his answer. I still don't feel very comfortable with his answer, and there are sessions that he made that unsubstantiated, but we'll leave it there. It probably has his reasons for some of the things, like his assertion that those people were sponsored by Wiki and so on. He didn't give us facts, but it's neither here nor there. But it was quite a very, very rich and instructive discussion. You can see that he knows his onions. He's quite versed. I looked up his CV. I also find out that he is the president of International Coalition Against Christian Genocide in Nigeria. And you can see that a lot of what he spoke also was in that direction. The issue, I think, when he spoke about the problem in the Congo, would I call it the Rwanda-Congo conflict? Because it's Rwanda, Congo, to an extent, Uganda, that the trouble in that axis, the Great Lakes region. I think that he didn't properly situate it in context. I know that's his area. He's an historian. Because there is an international dimension to the present conflict, which he didn't add, and it's critical because it's not just before the Belgium, the colonial people, before the Berlin Conference and the scramble for Africa. That whole area was relatively in peace. There was no Rwanda, there was no Uganda. There was the Buganda people. There were, but there was no country like Rwanda. There was no country like Congo. So it was during the conference when the scramble and partitioning of Africa came that they split the place that was Congo. They split it into two, and one part was Rwanda, and then the other part was Congo, and then the southwest part, which they split also, form part of Uganda. And then you had Tutsis in southwest Uganda, about 1 million of them. You had Tutsis in the area called Rwanda, and then you have some Tutsis in Congo. And then, of course, you also had Tutsis in Burundi. So what generated the conflict was that the Belgians who took over from King Leopold of Belgium sided initially with the Tutsi, who were the minorities. Oh, okay, it's a different matter. Okay, let me just sum up. The Belgians caused the problem because they used divide and rule, supported initially the Tutsis who were in the minority, educated them, gave them privileges over the Hutus who were the majority. And eventually it culminated in a problem in 1959 when there was a revolution, Hutu revolution, which drove away the Tutsis out of Congo, and they fled, to Uganda and some of those places. And it was just because of time. It was those ones that eventually went to Uganda and neighboring countries that now took up arms, and formed the M23 that eventually started fighting, supporting Kagame, who also is a Tutsi, against DR Congo. I just wanted to summarize it. So the problem that you have now, was one that was fueled by the Belgians, by their divide and rule policy, and all of them was essentially because of.
But is there any war that's gone on in the continent of Africa that's not been spoiled by somebody outside of Africa?
Well, most of the wars, yes, but you see, the problem was that the issue was that they supported the Tutsis initially when they saw that the Tutsis were educated and they were just like the South. When they saw that they were educated and they were challenging them, they switched over to the Hutus, and then they closed their eyes to all the massacre that was going on. Eventually, resulted in the genocide that we saw in 1994. And it's still happening now, because since then Congo has not known any peace, and that trouble has continued. So you have today, you have Europe there, you have America there, you have China there, all of them scrambling for the wealth of Congo. It's unfortunate.
Okay, thank you so much. And that was it driving home. That was what I was saying when I thought that the Rivers people were being very funny. You are giving your wealth out because you cannot settle yourself, and now somebody who has no allegiance to you or to your cronies is not going to be the one dividing the yam. He has the knife, he has the yam. He's going to be cutting for you people at the piece he wants. And if you think that is better, well, I don't know what to say. Femi, yes, you heard him. What is your own take from what he had discussed? Do you really think, and then, Tony didn't touch on that, but do you think that, the way Nigeria is going right now, are we heading towards the late Bola Ige, once feared that Nigeria may go towards the direction of Rwanda?
Yes, I am. Recall that there was an alleged report. We don't, even though now there's a dispute about what the source of the report was. Was it the CIA, the NSA, whatever, about Nigeria's unity and how it will probably have broken up in, was it 2014 or 2015? By 2014 or 2015. Now,
2015, it was Obama who made the comment.
Right. So, but the way I like to look at it is, you've already said part of it, as if we don't know already, right? That even the DR Congo situation is just a replica or a mirror of similar situations all around Africa. Basically, it's just a big problem that is origin from even pre-Berlin conference, if you will. Now, something I found rather interesting was what I came across, I believe, about 2-3 weeks ago. I think I was watching a program on Al Jazeera, and I wonder if he's a professor or she's just someone that's well-versed, or a journalist that's well-versed in that region as well. She spoke to the fact, and I actually went to do some research, where Uganda actually plays a large role, alongside Kagame, especially in the situation of Rwanda. And see the picture again. It's not new to us. It just shows you in microcosm of how the West plays this roulette game with their proteges in Africa, amongst the African countries, so that if at any given point in time you're not kowtowing to the strings of the puppeteer, the Western countries, they find a way to remove you, or they eliminate you anyways, like they did to what's the name of that Zairian guy that was acidified. Now, away from again, just to your point, the other reason why I said I kind of like, even without knowing about Bola Ige's assertion, we have all the elements to have erupted. I don't know if it's just God, whether it is whatever our prayers are still keeping. I do not know what it is, because when you look at it critically, why is it that even take Igbos, take Yoruba, take any ethnic group you want to take, maybe aside I don't want to say maybe the Fulanis now. Why is it that even amongst the Igbos, as an example, and I'm not limiting to the Igbos now, it's just because of some of what our guest said, you also have certain people who go against the interests of the Igbo as well, who play along with the same people who are supposed to be the oppressors. That thing, it kind of like bothers me, because that's the same way I look at my my own ethnicity as well. We have them in abundance too, such that, like I always tell people, even some of my cousins, we have disagreements about certain things that happen. I'm like, whenever just because your own person is there today, even when they're doing certain things that may not necessarily be to your own interest, you look away because it's Yoruba. I don't even necessarily want to think of him being a Muslim or Christian now. Just that ethnic part alone kind of irks me. I understand the sentiments, but why is it that it is difficult for us to call out certain people that also encourage wittingly or unwittingly some of these things that we complain about? Because it doesn't help at all. It does not help. Now, in addition, there was a part of remember I had some question, because I think Lata, he has a way of beating people sometimes. He was calling me out on the fact that I keep talking about this Palestinian-Israeli thing. The only reason why I do that sometimes is because I try to relate what happens in other parts of the world, even in America, what's happening right now, depending on what side of the divide you choose to be. I try to relate it with our own local events, because whether we like it or not, we do not live in isolation. Whatever is affecting maybe America, maybe not America sometimes, whatever is happening in one part of the world has a way of affecting what happens in other parts of the world. So I mean, basically, maybe as a way of rounding up now, my major problem is the fact that there's no unity even amongst the Igbos when it comes to a situation like this, or even basically.
All right, thank you so much, Femi. I was avoiding using my bell because somebody is shouting me that I even have a bell. Okay, the last statement you made, I would come back to take you on that, because I feel a bit concerned when it's all the Igbos are always acting to work in unity with one another. Other people can have so many groups. Nobody asks them to all coalesce together. But if the Igbos have different groups, it becomes a general problem. It means the Igbos are not together. But that's not what I'm discussing today. We're trying to open the space. And that space is what doctor has thrown on the ground with many of his numerous publications. And sometimes I don't know, I'm coming to Chim before I come, because I think Chim came first before the other guy. Now, many.
AJ, please. Sorry, let me just retract something. Not retract, but let me just respond to something. I was only speaking to the Igbos based off of what he was speaking about.
Okay.
They were saying things, but okay, generally, it's
general. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I quoted wrong. Now, this is okay. I've lost my train of thought. All right. Yes. Let me just go to Chim. Chim, what will you say? Maybe while you're answering, I remember what I was trying to ask you before now.
Okay. Sorry. Let me increase the volume of my. Just give me a second. I know the volume is low.
No, we can hear you clearly.
Yeah, but on my own side, I know it's low. I've just increased it a bit.
All right.
So I think I didn't. The plan wasn't to call in, especially when Rudolph was in. I just wanted to listen, which I did. I listened to everybody who responded and spoke to him and all that. What I would say is that it's good to get these kinds of people and hear from them. People who have had a close shave with the oppressive system we have in Nigeria. You see, recently I came to a realization that the people who are a problem in a society often are in denial that they are the problem. And the people who have gotten into government, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to even say Fulani or Yoruba or whatever, or Igbo. We have a common problem. There's another forum I belong to that one of our guests reached out to me and put me into. My ears have been full staying in that group. And this is predominantly 99% of the people on that group are in diaspora. And specifically, it was Dele Ogu that put me in that group. You will be surprised at the magnitude of people of Nigerian extraction abroad who want Nigeria to be dismantled. You will be shocked.
Yeah. So, Chim, I'm not cutting your train of thought, but can you answer that? Just opposing some Americans who left America, felt Nigeria was a home place to build a home, went to Lagos and Abuja, bought land and built their houses, and now those houses and places are being demolished for no just cause. Nobody's coming to their rescue.
Yeah, that's why I said, if you see my opening statement, I said that it's always refreshing to meet people like our guest, today's guest, who have had a close shave with the oppressive system. Do you understand? So these are our diaspora brethren who went home to supposedly in the name of Black solidarity. That's what it is. Because there are Blacks all over the world looking for places in Africa. They have money in the US, but they recognize that because of their history in the US, they're looking for a place they can call home, a predominantly Black environment. That's the truth. You see a lot of Americans returning back to places like, especially Ghana. Ghana has benefited immensely from, a lot of African Americans who want to go back to Africa. Even those of them who really don't even have true heritage to Ghana, but just feel Ghana is more welcoming for them. You see, what's this popular talk show guy?
Even Rita Mali has been living in Ghana for over 20 years now.
Yeah,
20 years.
This other popular one, the guy who used to be he hosted Miss World one time and made a mistake. Popular guy we all know. I'm trying to remember his name. He recalled the wrong winner and he corrected it. That's what I want to use to remember him. You know him, and lots of others. But you see, what this guy once our people get into governance,
you mean Steve? You mean Steve?
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you, my brother. Steve. Once our people get in, there's something that majority of people who have gotten into governance, that governance structure. Because isn't it surprising to you that the current president we have, just 10 years, 15 years back, was not an apostle of Nigeria? Was not an apostle of keep this system? At what point did he suddenly change his mindset? Gotten in, and actually is even doing worse than every other person. So I think, because of the way we are heading, we're not going to be able to attract some of those people. And then the ones you've mentioned who have gone home and had this horrible experience. I'm going to go back and spread the word. Don't go to Nigeria. Don't go there. Better go to Ghana, go to Sierra Leone, go anywhere, go to Southern Africa. Go, but you see that one in the middle? Don't go there. It is truly a trigger point. Exactly the way it is at that level where it is in Africa. It's a trigger point. So the point I want to make when it comes to the host is that his experience is quite telling. Just picking up and then suddenly the system wants you gone. And I worry that some of the persons they used to accomplish this in the system, whether it is in the DSS or in the police or in the army, sometimes I wonder what kind of persons are they? What kind of mindset do they have? Are they saying that when Nigerians speak up, that the things Nigerians are saying, we run a Gestapo system in Nigeria. We run a those who people come here to criticize Trump, criticize the American system. Nobody is picking you up. Nobody is picking you. And you know the funny thing is, Trump will come and go. The next person will come. The next person, if let's assume Trump has done horrible things, the next person will have done everything. Use his executive order and change it. And still, but the basic principles on which America runs will remain the same. It doesn't change. It remains the same. There's fairness. There is AOC can come out openly and advise illegal immigrants on how to evade ICE. Nobody's going to arrest her. Even though seemingly you may say what she's saying is against the state, nobody's going to arrest her. You will see a mayor in Chicago say he is against the government of Trump. Nobody will go against him. Do you understand? They will all differ on principles and methods, but America remains the same. Trump will come and go, the next person will come. And after him, the next person will come.
So basically, not to take you away from our issue, which is that is Nigeria going to be, has Nigeria been Islamized? Do you think, are you in line with what Obasanjo said, that democracy has totally failed in Africa because of local content? Will you see it in that direction?
Yes. So okay. So you know, the truth is, it's painful. And when
how can we manage it? How can we bring it to what we want? And I say this bearing in mind that the agents that are supposed to correct the system are the ones themselves who have the power. So in other words, the Nigerian people, once you vote, you are helpless. You can't bring any change. We can't even go ahead now and say we don't want two houses of assembly. If the Nigerian people say that, because he has to go back to the assembly to approve it. So that's why I'm asking the question. Do you think we can make a difference or can change the status quo if we, the Nigerian people, say we don't want that anymore? Okay, so here's the thing.
Ordinarily, it's not supposed to be down to one man. It's supposed to be that germane, if majority of the people in different wards, districts, senatorial, whatever it is across the country, seem to hold the same common ground that we need a change in the constitution, or we need something to go. Maybe they say we don't want to have a bicameral legislative system, want to have a unicameral. It's supposed to be that you would listen to the majority of the voice of the people, you put it to a vote, and if it's clear that you see that majority say they want that change, then the government has no choice than to carry that out. But you and I know that that's not the way Nigeria is run. Nigeria is run on an elite consensus. Habit that the elite consensus is against the people. The elites do not run the system for the benefit of the people. They run the system in their own interest. What they agree and accept, that's how they run the society. So to that degree, what I'm going to say to you is this. We've had strong leaders who ought to go in there, because whoever is president becomes Lord in Nigeria. It's like the Lord of the Manor. He goes in there within the 4 years or 8 years he's in office, the way he wants things done. Nigeria takes the character of that person. I always say that the prevalent spirit in Nigeria at any given point in time is the spirit of the man who is the president. The way he wants to run things, that's the way Nigeria runs. So you would have expected, and for somebody who is arguing with me on the plus, doesn't even understand when I say, I'm not saying Tinubu can't change his mind. What I'm saying is this. This man came up to say he didn't believe in the structure, the way Nigeria was structured. I haven't seen any effort from him to dismantle that structure in the benefit of the people. All he is doing is destroying the system in the benefit of the cabal he's creating.
Okay.
What is this? And Mr. Ike will come in. So I expected that when Obasanjo was in office, Because there's something that people don't seem to understand. You see, it might sound academic, but it is not.
Okay. Thank
when
you.
Obasanjo was in office, for instance, the law of precedence, if he had changed the way leadership was emerging, if he hadn't stifled a few things, which he did, Nigeria would have carried on from where he stopped. For instance, his so-called war against crime, EFCC, became the norm because he started it. And for a while, EFCC was doing a good job until that's been bastardized. So I will end by saying, the day we have that strong man, because Nigeria is not going to suddenly become a nation of strong institutions overnight. For now, it's going to be a nation of a strong man who will come and lead by example. The moment you start leading by example, automatically everybody else will fall in place. Everybody is calling Tinubu father, calling his wife mama, because that's the way the system is. But if they go in there and say, don't call us mama, don't call us papa, and encourage each state people to be bold to speak, it suddenly becomes the norm of the society. That's what we don't seem to understand. That's how you grow a system. Thank you.
Thank you, Chim. Thank you so much. Yes, I've been itching to come to Ike because he's a church leader, and I want to find out from him why people like him in high positions with great numbers of people are not able to speak out for their sheep. Why will pastors sit there and all these moves to Islamize Nigeria is there, and none of you have ever stood up to challenge the status quo, go to court, or call the government in question to order, or even ask, why are these things happening since we are supposed to be a secular state? Pastor Ike, why have you people refused to stand in the place of the sheep?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. All of us are pastors in our own field, right? Pastors are not, everybody is a pastor in his own field. When you talk about pastors speaking to their congregation or to their sheep, the question remains that in Nigeria, how many pastors are known to have a pulpit that the crowd follow? Maybe you have only 4 or 5 of them in Nigeria that people feel that they are the only men of God we have in Nigeria, including me and you. Are we regarded as men of God? No, because we are not the Adebayos, we are not the Bakaris, we are not the Lazarus Monkas, we are not the people of Christian Genocide. We are not of, those are the men of God they know. Some of us, when you speak to them, they don't listen to you. They want to listen to their GO. And you that is a subordinate to G or working under a pastor, or if you're in a branch, you have a little that you can do at the end of the day. Some of us who believe in practical Christianity, some of us who believe in speaking the truth in the pulpit, you find out that sometimes that men of God will avoid you to come and minister in their church because they know what you're going to say is going to erupt the church. So sometimes you are denied the opportunity to minister in a church, right? If you're a member of a church also, you are struggling with that because they will tell you, you have to be obedient, you have to wait for your time to reach, because they know what you stood for. So automatically, it's not that the followership of men of God, majority of Nigerians are not serving God, but they are serving the men of God. And also, I want to be honest with you that God has left the Nigerian church for a very long time. God has left the pulpit of Nigerian church for a very long time. So what you see in the pulpit happening in Nigeria is man-made work that is working in Nigerian pulpit. Because at the end of the day, you are preaching a gospel to somebody. You are preaching, for example, give, it shall be given to you, right? You are preaching, give, it shall be given to you, to a woman or a man who has about 7 children that he cannot afford to send the children to school. And the church also probably has a school where that woman and her children can be able to go to school, and the church will be able to take care of their school fees. But rather, It is the children of the people that we call unbelievers and the people that come to, that attend the school, because the members of the church cannot afford to pay the fees of the school. Check around in your country called Nigeria, all the school, all the churches, the big churches that have hospitals, secondary school, nursery school, doctors. The members of those churches cannot afford to go there because they can't pay the money. So the same people we want to carry the gospel to go and preach to, they are the people that their children attending the schools, attending the nursery school, attending the hospitals, attending the universities, because they can afford to pay the money. So you see the gap of understanding in the body of Christ, right? So I know. Let me speak for myself. I know the struggle that I went through with the headquarters in Lagos, because I was trained. First of all, I started with Deeper Life, and before I joined the Lord Choosing, and I know the battle I go on with when I go to Lagos. I know the battle that goes on, before I finally left Africa, because even the people at the foreign mission, the pastors in the foreign mission will want you to give them bribe before you can be able to get money for you to go to your branch and run the church. They will ask you, if you are asking for 5 million naira, for example, they will ask you, okay, out of the 5 million, they get 1 million, so that you can, if without that, you cannot see the general overseer, you can't see the pastor. So it becomes a business, right? They want you to be posted to, somewhere, you have to give them money, the people in the foreign mission who will take your name to GO, right? So my brother KG has
question for you,
yeah.
Ike. Is that the reason why the church went to sleep and allowed Islam to overrun everywhere?
Yeah, because that's the point. Because the people that preach the gospel don't practice what they preach. You understand? You don't practice what you preach, right? So automatically, you cannot convince anybody what Christianity is all about, because you are not living the life of Christ-like. You are not practicing what you are trying to tell him to practice as a Christian. And at the end of the day, who are you going to convert? You can't convert anybody. You can't convince anybody. So the point remains that, as I said, that God has left Nigerian church. Everything that we are doing is the power of man. You understand? And it's a fact, because at the end of the day, how many Nigerian churches today do you hear when they preach about heaven and hell, or they preach about righteousness and holiness? Everybody is talking about prosperity. Everybody is talking about miracle. Everybody is talking about signs and wonders. But for me, personally, as a child of God and as a believer of the word of God, who believe in miracle also, what is miracle?
Okay.
What is your miracle? Your miracle is when you believe the word of God by faith. Your miracle is that miracle does not come when every morning I know I have the opportunity to go and look for work, and I sit in my house and waiting for miracle to come from nowhere. You cannot get miracle when you don't practice your faith. You have to take a leap of faith. You have to take a step to be able to attract your miracle to yourself. Right?
Thank you so much.
The other miracle that come, there are other miracles that is a favor of God, which Tim can decide now to say, okay, listen. Wait, let me land with this.
Okay, land, please.
Which means that Chief can decide that KJ, let me just bless you. There's no connection, there is no contact, there is nothing. But I just want to bless you. Those are the miracles. Those are normal, that are supernatural miracles. But the miracle for you to be able to live, you have to take a walk to attract the miracle, because I cannot close myself inside my house, and I'm looking for contract at the government office. How am I going to get the contract if I don't take a walk, if I don't make a move?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And someday we will discuss these issues of miracle. And that will be, I promise you, before the end of April, I'll put that together. We'll discuss the workings of miracle and how it's supposed to be done, whether it is even working at all. So we all can understand and be on the same page. I'm coming to Richard. And Richard, the question I have for you is, should we just drift into becoming an Islamic nation so that everybody can rest, so that people's life can also be preserved? Which is better? Do we drift into that, or do we just keep fighting this losing battle of, the government is not taking care of its citizens, and when laws are taken into the hands of the people, the government turn them as having been evil. Now, I'll give you an example. Bearing that in mind, with what we just discussed with Doctor some few minutes ago, President Tinubu has given a standing order that everybody who took part in that incident in Uromi must be fished out and dealt with. Now, but you remember that there are many other different pockets of communities that now nobody even lives there except Fulanis and their cows. No such order have been given. If you put all this together, how does it make you feel as a Nigerian? How do you respond to it?
Yeah, once again, good evening, wonderful people. My brother, that's why I asked him that question. Because what is happening in Nigeria is that mostly the southern Nigerians, southern Christians, were too docile, were too cowardly, cowardice. That's what is happening. That's what is really, really draining us in the south. I lived in the north. Let me tell you, without northern Christians, Nigeria would have been Islamized.
I agree.
There are few, not really there are few, let's say 40% or 35% of northerners are Christians. Without them, Nigeria would have been fully Islamized. Igbo Christians, Yoruba Christians, the whole southern Christians, we are not serious. If you know who is called Pastor Ladi Thompson, he's a Yoruba man. If you have been following him, you know him?
I know him very well.
If you know Ladi Thompson, what this man has been talking about, violent Islam in northern Nigeria against Christians, and the Church of God in the south is just quiet. They are after building universities, hospitals, schools, private jets, while their fellow Christians in the north are being slaughtered. KJ, I lived in the north for many years. In fact, that's where I left from just to Holland. That's where I lived all my adult life in the north. So when you come about Islamization of Nigeria, and some people are saying it's not true, it's not possible, because those minority northern Christians are fighting vigorously. Do you know who is called Pastor Emmanuel Bosun? He's a Yoruba man too.
I know Bosun. I have his. In fact, he was
these are the people who are fighting for Christianity. I even thank God for even Yoruba pastors. Very few of them. The Igbo pastors, they are just cowardly. They are just docile. They are just gullible. They do nothing. And they will tell you.
Sorry, I'm not cutting you. We hosted Pastor Bosun, and I still have that his message. When that message came, we gave it footings in Nigeria. But majority of the churches we spoke with told us that we are just, this cannot be possible. It's not, it's not true. It's not this. This cannot happen. What about the prayer I've been praying? So today, Pastor Bosun has been justified. At the time he raised that alarm, if we had taken steps beyond just leaving it to individual small ministries, there will have been a great difference. What is fueling it? And this is my opinion, and not necessarily the opinion of any other people. What is fueling it is that we are laid back, and we have nothing against Islam. Let's get it correct. For those people who are making comments, who may be Muslims here, we don't have anything against Muslims. We don't have anything against Islam. We are simply saying that Nigeria is a secular country based on the secular nature of it. Let everybody practice their religion how they want, where they want it.
Exactly.
We don't have to make it a general rule for everybody. However, if you decide that you guys want to practice your religion in the way you want it, as you have done now in the north, we can all just operate a confederation where you can decide your own laws, your own this thing. We can still be one nation, but it's a confederate. Everybody run their own this thing. Anyway, that's my opinion. And because we're looking for a way to preserve lives, I'm sure that Islam also takes life as a very precious thing, just like the Christians take it. So, best way to preserve life, Richard, is your last question I'm asking. What's the best way to go about this thing so that every Nigerian can have peace?
Yeah, no, I'm not against Islam. What I'm talking about radical Islam or political Islam. That's that's my problem. That's where I have my concern. You can practice whatever you want to practice. And let me go back to our guest tonight. You know, he mentioned Soludo, what Soludo is doing in Anambra State. You are entering into people's shrine, you know, confiscating them, calling them Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? I am not. Look, every DBA that is horrible can be dealt with. But for example, look at our Yoruba people. Can a Yoruba governor go to a shrine now and start scattering shrines? It's impossible. So that's why I'm telling you, our Igbo people, our Igbo pastors, and they are the worst of them. So I love what the man said about Soludo. Soludo should not, go into our places, or the Menala, start calling them Dalosi. The churches in Igbo land, they're even worse than those in the Menala. They commit more crimes. They cheat more than those people. Because I believe cheating is cheating. So finally, the only way we can do this and live it in peace is that Nigeria is a secular country, right? Let everybody practice her or religion, peacefully. Don't force somebody to take your religion or not. There's a trending X message today. There's one Fulani man. The guy has been converted to Christianity. As we speak, last time they even killed his bodyguard. Today, he's on hiding. In fact, if you listen to what they're looking for him to kill, this pastor, they're looking for him to kill. So what I'm trying to say, if you want to live in one Nigeria, let us live, in peace. Let everybody respect each other, whether you are Omenala, whether you are a Christian or Muslim. But don't take your own religion against my own religion, your own belief against my own belief. That's where we have problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you see, you happen to be talking to someone who has done a lot of work in the area of evangelism or even working with Fulanis. So I know most of those people, I know them one-on-one, but that's a story for another day. All right, so we're moving on. We have a former Catholic priest, now present Catholic priest, who is here. And he has more insight. Maybe they were the ones who had the meeting. But you heard what our guest said today, that the country has been totally taken over. And that now we are even struggling to remain secular. But every other indication points us to the direction of being no longer a secular country. There. What shall we do to have peace in Nigeria? From what he said and what his researches show.
There's a noise somewhere. Maybe somebody needs to be muted.
It's from Father Austin.
From me?
From Richard.
Yes. No, it's Austin.
Did it stop?
All right. Yes, it stopped. So go ahead, sir. What's your own take?
Oh, thank you. I mean, when Tony was speaking, I was just reflecting something. Both Odogwu and the Tony, they are from Delta State. And they keep persecuting the Southeast. When they took a chunk of the Igbos out of the Southeast,
Is that not really funny? So the Nzogwu that we are being persecuted from is no longer from the southeast, and the southeast is still being persecuted. So, like what Richard was saying, I just want to come from where Richard stopped when he talked about the docility of the southeast pastors. We should actually understand that our environment informs our actions and reactions. In the southeast, there is no need to be radical Christian because you are not in the midst of the enemy. The pastor in Onitsha, the pastor in Aba 10 years ago had all Christians around and few pagans. Unlike the pastor from Yoruba extraction that has Muslims around, the northern, they have Muslims around. So there is a possibility of conflict. So they are informed in different ways. So the ones in the southeast are not coming from a way of preserving what they are not thinking that they are losing. So the conflict they will have is even among themselves, how to get more members to their religion. So when this conversation is moved to tribe, I find it difficult to respond to it. Because if we want to use a standard tribe, what would that standard tribe be? I have been to the Fulani part of the country. I've lived in Ikorodu for years, and I saw people who are the natives of that place. They are not better than the native of any other part of the country. So I'm looking at the elite consensus in Nigeria, where somebody is elected today, and every problem here, what would a pastor do? Like what Tony is doing. What would 20 of Tony do to run around the whole world? This is a systemic issue. Who is the? I hope Gospel Ababe has been saying that he has altar in his house. That means he's a Catholic. Oshomole she also have altar. That means he's also a Catholic. So what are we really saying? They are seeing all these things and they are condoling it. You know, since this week, last week, I have been wondering about one thing. The case of Humphrey Wosu that came up. I really sat down and looked at that case. And one thing that came to mind is a stupid person in Nigeria will want everybody to be stupid. Look at what Oshomole was saying. He wanted a professor to go and be an activist by going to announce a result when what he was heading has been already taken away from him. INEC it's not INEC, it was NEC. It wasn't independent. It was under the government. And the government, the president is saying, don't do this. And he wants him to be radical enough to go and hug the microphone and say, though NEC has been dismantled, now this is the owner of the result. And to the foolishness of the argument of our elite, go back to the National Assembly and look at the argument. Somebody went to court and deposited a result in the court, and you're saying that he has not announced it. What is in the court? Is it not a public information? So, like what Derek Farotimi was saying, Derek Farotimi really solved my problem because that has been giving me a serious concern. But when I listened to him this morning, he said they are only afraid because he speaks on what every one of them are afraid of, which is making election to be free and fair. So if you make Humphrey Wosu an icon, you are telling every other INEC chairman to look onto him and behave like him. And this is not what this is exactly what they don't want. How would somebody like Akpabio give honor to Humphrey Wosu when the person that declared him is in prison and he is the Senate president? So this is exactly what we are saying. How would you say Oshomole should talk about Humphrey Wosu when the election he spearheaded in Edo State is in court, in shatters, and he is here condemning Humphrey Wosu? Look at the governorship election in Edo State. So you see, it is elite consensus, and the problem with it is When you tie tribe to it, you lose a lot of people. There are genuine people, there are genuine minds every part of the nation. But once you bring tribe, it is difficult not to bring tribe, especially when your tribe is the one at the center of the game. It's very difficult to tell an Igbo man, don't bring tribe into the conversation. But once you bring it, you lose innocent-minded people elsewhere. So, yeah, so our problem is elite consensus, and it's also a systemic. But the problem is like what Chim was saying. How do you really work on this system?
That's the question.
It is very, very difficult.
That's the question I was throwing at you that you are trying to run away from.
Yeah, so the way to work on the system.
You are the Catholic priest, Okay, yeah. I don't know whether you're still a priest or you have stopped, but once a priest, always a priest.
Oh, no, I'm a priest. I just finished
I can still say my Hail Mary full of grace, Lord Jesus. I can see the fight, even though I'm no longer in the fold. So how do we now provide solution? Because if you ask me, as KJ, I gave up long time ago, like I said, because at the level of tribalism in Nigeria, we have passed the threshold where issues would have been taken care of.
Yeah.
Now, once government fail to act in a certain way, it becomes more difficult as the years go by. Now, we have criminals in the highest offices in the land. How do these criminals accept that the good will be done for the rest of the country? That's the problem. That's the challenge we need to answer.
So two things are there. For me, a Catholic priest, and other Christians, we believe in the God of Moses. If he can continue to harden the heart of Pharaoh, so that the Pharaoh, who is now our leaders, they will continue digging the hole. Because if you look at let them keep what they are doing. Look at the last 2 months. See what is going on in leadership. Everything is cracking down. Every day, one mess. Every day, one mess. Look at what is happening in River State. So they will get to a dish that they were unable to. It will be easy for the few who are genuine to just add a little sand and cover all of them. That is a solution, which is a faith-driven solution. Or tomorrow, just think about it. Just think about tomorrow. 50 million Nigerians will be like, we want to vote one person. And they vote this person. And this person comes up and say, oh, Yaradua, the way I came in is not, I want to fix something now. And he will not die on the seat. He lives 4 years and able to make something and get another 4 years. That is the only way we can go. Because if we go down to the dish, it is easy to close it and begin again. Or something happens. Or the God that answered Abacha's prayer, for those who believe that Abacha's situation was a blessing, that Abacha died on the seat and something happens and some other person emerges. Just imagine if Osibanjo had become the president of Nigeria, if Buhari had not completed the 8 years and Osibanjo took over from him, maybe we wouldn't have been where we are today. So these are hypotheses you can come up with.
Thank you so much. Let me move to Bob Chisco. Bob Chisco, you have heard our guest, and he has made a very, very, in fact, I enjoy listening to him. He was very apt. I thought that I'm one person who have, waka and have run some dangerous, the water I have run is nothing compared to what he has done. In fact, because I have passed those places that that we're talking about. So some of those places, just like you said, the northern part of Nigeria don't have border. In fact, you even have, when I cross through Sokoto to Mardi, I had to wait at the border for the wife of the immigration officer to go and call her husband from the farm, who came to give me, because I wanted a stamp on my passport. So he came and said, why didn't you just cross? I said, no, in journalism, you want to be sure that when you go run into trouble, they don't say you cross illegally, because anything can happen. So I want you to stamp it. So he stamped it and thanked me for even waiting for him. He wasn't even wearing his immigration uniform. He came from his farm with his body, So why I'm saying that to let you know how to move in the north from state to state, even across the borders. Is so easy. Vis-a-vis when you have to move from Lagos to Togo and Benin, or have to move in any part of this, especially the east, where there's a checkpoint at every 5 kilometers. You get a checkpoint where all of you have to come down and trek across, and then the driver will move across, and then all of you go and enter. How do you see this? Is there a way that we can remedy the situation in Nigeria? Do you see any way forward?
Thank you, KJ. Thank you, fellow panelists. Can you hear me?
Very clear.
Okay. Yeah, when I was listening to, though I came late, but I was able to follow up on some of the things he was, talking about. That man has really crisscrossed the length and breadth of Africa. Honestly speaking, I was sure that when he was mentioning all the West African countries he visited, with all the itinerant risk involved, you see how he was saying that his life was at risk. He was threatened in this area. He had to cross over to this one. Then I counted almost 8 countries he mentioned in Africa before he finally found himself in is it Palestine or where he called me? In fact, my brother, Philippines, yeah. You see, all these things once more borders on why we have found ourselves in this enclave called Nigeria. Unfortunately, the country we all hoped to see had gone down beyond our expectations, and every year it keeps getting worse. And I still go back to say it is all about the recruitment process of our leaders, because many would believe that the problem of Nigeria still remains the problem of leadership, though not everybody will buy that. Some will say Nigeria was never meant to be one, that the British, they knew what they did, because of the resources that are bound in the country. They purposely put the northern and southern protectorates together, where they know that even when they know that oil and water cannot meet, they have to fuse us together, say, go and kill yourselves. On the issue of movements in Nigeria, I tell you, it has never been so palatable, especially within the past 10 years. Because it was under Buhari, the man I call a colossal disaster, the destroyer, the man who destroyed Nigeria. And when this one that said that it was his turn, Mr. Balabulu came in. So many people who said he was going to do better than Buhari, they are now disappointed beyond their expectations that the insecurity we saw under Buhari has continued. When you talk about movement in Nigeria, I can't even remember when I traveled in Nigeria, except when I did my youth service in 2004 in Kaduna. You could close your eyes and go anywhere. Today, if you give me 5 million naira, if I'm in Nigeria, and you tell me to go back to the place I served in Kaduna South, Kafanchan, Kaura. That time, you go to the train station, you go to Igbo community, you go to everywhere in Kaduna South. But today, that same place I served, there has been war. Fulanis have ransacked the place. They killed so many people in Kagoro back then. A community called Manchok, at the time they all ran into the bush. Why am I saying this? This is as a result of what? The bad leadership that has refused to provide adequate security for the people. So people are now afraid in Nigeria to move around. You see a poor man who...
Sorry, Mr. Bob, is it that Nigerian have failed to provide security, or the government don't want to provide security?
The
Because,
government.
okay,
The government.
yeah, because I want us to put it in, because if the government cannot provide security, are they giving communities the opportunity to provide their own security?
Thank you. Thank you. You see, let me just use this Edo incident that happened on Friday. You know, after that, and following the narratives of some people, that this guy said they were heading from Port Harcourt back to the north. And now, all the way from Port Harcourt, you arrive, arming yourself in a truck in Edo State. And you know, these people, within the past 2 months, these people have suffered great losses of their kids and kin through the hands of these Fulani herdsmen. You see, now, they complained. They were not being heard. They cried. They carried their dead ones, to the extent that they felt that, I think, we have to provide our own securities, and they have to form vigilantes. And from the news we heard, it was these vigilantes that said, okay, since the government cannot protect us, let us protect ourselves. If you can't protect us, I will protect myself. And that was actually what led to what we saw. You see, people that had been killing your own people, and suddenly you see them with ammunitions. I don't support jungle justice, but our people will say, yeah, because you never can say this is actually where they were going. If you had let them to pass, you don't know where they will end and offload all those ammunition. Unfortunately, it all ended that way. Now you see the threat coming from the north. They have now transgressed to ethnic profiling, to the extent that I heard some Igbo people in the north have been threatened to leave the north. And if I'm an Igbo man in the north and I'm still staying in the north by now, that means I don't love my life. Because you know how these people behave. The next thing now, you wake up very early in the morning, or even in the middle of the night when you are asleep, they come and burn your house. And when you try to escape, those of them standing outside they'll machete you to death. So this country, honestly, as I'm saying, it has become overwhelmingly clear that governments have lost touch with the realities on ground, that they cannot continue to provide for people. Those that has failed are still clamoring for 2027. Well, I don't want to say God will save us. Nigerians will save themselves. If government cannot save Nigerians, time shall come when Nigerians, going by what happened in 2020 through NSAS, maybe they want a repeat of what looks like NSAS to happen again in Nigeria. Yeah. So my brother, that is it for now. I don't know if I still have more time, because I will want to talk about.
All right, no, you don't have time. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Why you took
all right.
But
all right. Thank you.
You've explained very well, and I like.
Thank you.
Yes,
all right.
Coming to the humble young man who is part of the Gen Z generation. Somebody is praising people here that people have a different view. So let's hear your view. Maybe your view will bring peace to the nation. What do you say concerning what the doctor had told us today? And I know that you read wide and far, and so with a Gen Z mindset, you probably also bring a different bearing to it. So what's your take, sir? Is Nigeria being Islamized, and what should we do?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll start by mentioning. Well, let me start by greeting the panelists. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, or morning, wherever you're listening from. I know some people are in the United States or Canada or some of those cold countries, maybe Greenland. So good evening. So thank you very much once again for the opportunity to have my view. Yeah, so I'll start by saying that I'm not a Gen Z person. So really, okay. I'm not. I might be Gen Z relative to you.
You look 25.
Just like some people, when we were growing up, we used to read to read in the history books that the people that organized the first military coup were junior officers. So when I served, yeah, my youth service was in the military. So I did ask them, these guys, these majors or squadron leaders, are they junior officers? Yeah, and they said, no, they are not. They're senior officers. But because those generals will regard, the majors or the lieutenant colonels as junior people. So yeah,
Yeah,
if you
because
say I'm Gen Z, I
they don't
think
have
it's
they
still
don't
in
have
order because
their colors don't have red neck. So the red neck people that are officers. Every other person is junior. So you become an
yeah.
officer from the rank of colonel. You start having a red pin, red neck. All right. Anyway, that's a distraction. Go ahead, sir.
So the guest today, yeah, did not disappoint. I would say he is a scholar. I think he touched on virtually everything that concerns Nigeria. Not only in the aspect of religion, he touched the history, the culture, and relationship with the West. And the part I think I learned a lot really was the Middle East. Because prior to today, I have not sometimes, yeah, I may not have the time to read everything really. So I think occasions like this will provide me the platform to here and then. That will stimulate me to read a bit more about those things. Yeah, he mentioned something about the Middle East, which I had not read before today, about colonization, about the government structure and everything. There. So then also he took a different stand regarding South Africa. I'll just touch on that a bit before I come to Nigeria. So many people are of the opinion that what Trump is doing in South Africa is not the right way to go. But I think he took a different opinion, and yeah, I could see comments coming, flying here and there when he was talking about South Africa. People were not so pleased, about his stand, but I think he made some sense because Dr. Damages tried to use Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, before they started confiscating land, was a poor country. After they confiscated land, still remained a poor country. The sanctions did some damage, but it wasn't significant. That Zimbabwe is a poor country today, it's not because of those sanctions. The Zimbabwe is a poor country today. It's because of administrative incorrigibility of Mugabe, poor governance and the rest of them, not because of the sanctions. South Africa is not a poor country. South Africa is far more advanced than Zimbabwe. So I don't think that if the United States, sanctions South Africa, that they will suddenly become a Zimbabwe or some Burundi also. No. Yeah, so that's a part. The issue of whether the white South Africans, yeah, the Dutch people or the other guy that took the lands, whether it's moral, it's ethical, it's a discussion for another day, really. Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that those sanctions will not make South Africa become a Zimbabwe just because they are not on the same level. Zimbabwe was a poor country and those sanctions did not really significantly affect them. So coming down to Nigeria, the issue of tribalism in Nigeria, this is my stand about Nigeria. I have tried to draw a comparison between Nigeria and the Southern African countries, because a popular journalist, a popular investigative journalist in Nigeria has tried to, has tried to give this aphorism that Nigeria would be better as a united Nigeria, that people pushing for some kind of division, some kind of self-determination, that they are, very wrong. But the thing is that in Southern Africa, those tribes, let's say the Zulu, the Tosa, and the rest of them, they have some things in common. They have common ancestry, but you cannot say the same for the Urobo man and the Hausa man. They don't share the same cultural affiliation, same cultural ancestry, and the rest of them. So you have more ethnic nationalities in West Africa than you have in Southern Africa. So the nationalities in Southern Africa, they're sparsely populated. So they have more land. But in West Africa, you have more nationalities. Like in Taraba State, for example, you have more than 20 distinct ethnic nationalities, even far more than you have in the whole of Southern African region. So when people want to use Southern Africa or East Africa, those ethnic nationalities in East Africa, they have things in common that the ethnic nationalities in some parts of West Africa do not have in common. So if you draw the belt, the belt that we usually use in health, the meningitic belt, that runs across from Chad to Gambia. So that belt, it's cuts across the Fulani, the Hausa groups in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in Mauritania, in Niger Republic, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and the rest of them. Then below that belt is the southern tribes, from Cameroon, down to Cote d'Ivoire and the rest of them, Liberia, Sierra Leone. Yeah. So the reason why some things are happening in Nigeria is because there's no sense of nationalism. When you have that sense of nationalism, the Yoruba man, for example, say in Lagos or Ogun State, probably would not fight to protect something in Taraba State, just because he does not have that sense of nationalism, that something in Taraba State is part of what he should defend, for example. Whereas a British person in Coventry will fight to defend something in Colchester because he believes that that is part of the British asset, because there's that sense of nationalism. So you have different different nationalities. That's why you have these problems that are rising in Nigeria. So we have a generation coming up in Nigeria that will now ask, can we sit down to talk about how we are supposed to live in Nigeria? The generation that we have now is generation that wants Nigeria to work. The generation that is coming up is the generation that will ask, can we sit together to talk about how we want to live in Nigeria? Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much. I wanted you to land on your point, even though it took a bit more time, but it's okay. Yes, Soli. Hey, Soli, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so now I'm coming to you right on before I go to John Abba.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so what's your take? I'm sure you must have listened to all the interview. What will be your own take on it?
The interview with there was an interview.
Yes.
I
guess
just
you didn't listen to it.
I just came in mid-show and I was hearing the opinions of people, and I just wanted to share my own opinion.
He's of the opinion that Nigeria has been Islamized totally, and that it's a deliberate attempt by government not to give people security, and consequently calling out what happened in Urome, and giving it a bad name. I'm just paraphrasing right now. You're making people feel as if what they've done is wrong, but all the while they have watched Fulanis or herdsmen or terrorists go into these communities and have done a lot of harm to those communities, their men, their women, their children, their girl child, and all that. And no such cause, SOS, was sent around Nigeria to hunt down the people who have done it. And even quoted an example of just 2 weeks ago about 58 people in Benue were also told to go and meet God, and nobody made any hue and cry about it. The government didn't give any SMS to the security forces to hunt those people down. Why this particular one? What will be your own stand? Haven't heard what I just said.
I don't think there's. I don't, even if there's this Islamization agenda, right?
But do
I
you
don't.
understand what? Do you know the indices that makes a country become spawn towards Islamization?
Well, if I speak mainly on the religion, people will not like the truth. So it's just a known fact. That's how the Islamic religion really goes. They start out small and eventually they spread out. We know so many countries that were not Muslim countries before that are totally Islamic countries right now. It seems that's what is happening in the UK also. However, I do not believe it can work in Nigeria because the population is so big. How do you want to obtain it? Everybody has to willingly join the religion, or you have to force them to join it. Now, if you have to force them to join it, you can't wipe out millions of people. You are going to have to wipe out at least 10 to 20 million people or 50 million people. So how are you going to achieve such a goal? It's just that the Islamic people in Nigeria, they are more adamant about their Islamic rights. They are more aggressive and they are willing to be unalived for it. Unlike when you look at the Christian community, they are not. They do forgive and forget. You slap me on one cheek, I turn the other cheek, and you can bulldoze me on the second cheek too. So it's just a difference in values. I don't think the politicians really concern themselves with Islamization agenda. These people are too busy stealing money. They don't have religion. They really don't have any allegiance to any religion. That's why they are willing. They are very, very big. Give them position now, give them Quran. They will swear on it immediately and they will steal tomorrow. So they don't believe in the religion. So to me, it's a joke. It's just a little bit of fear mongering. If you ask if you can give me in practicality how they are going to achieve it without slaughtering almost 100 million people, then I'll accept it. And while the world watches and says nothing, then I'll accept it. So, and then somebody was talking about Yoruba pastors talking. Like, Yoruba pastors are cowards, man. They are working with the government. They're helping them to launder money. They're helping them to keep they are doing the same thing as the Islamic clerics in the north. They're helping them to keep the sheep silent and docile. But Christian people, they will not like it now because, white Jesus, anything that is white, they bow down to it. And also, they don't really worship God. They worship their pastors. That's why most of them have no integrity. You will see them doing some of the most callous things, but they will never miss one church, one Sunday night event or one Sunday church event. They'd rather donate money to buy their pastor helicopter because they worship their pastor. But these people, if a beggar begs them for 5 naira on the road, they will almost want to beat the beggar because how dare you talk to me? They still have their classist mindsets. So they are horrible people, who worship their pastors. Straight, and that's it. Their pastor can even, in front of their eyes, take their wife and molest them, and these people will say nothing because it's the pastor that they worship. We see it happen all the time. So you're talking about, and then the only pastor that I've seen about the suffering of Nigerian people is this Odumoje guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. You don't see Yoruba pastors talking about it. To them, they don't care. To hell with Nigerians. They can suffer as much as they want. To hell with Nigerians. That's none of their business. So when you are trying to praise these Yoruba pastors, I think you are doing a disservice, to the ones that are speaking out. And then when you say, oh, the government has lost touch and they cannot protect the citizens, they don't want to protect you. They are not losing touch. I'm tired of people giving the government benefit of doubt pretending like, oh, the government is not smart, the government doesn't know what they are doing, the government, they know. They know. They want you to not be safe. You know, they want you to be poor, because a man that is belleful will not sell his vote. A man that has security will be too scared to come out to vote. You know, why would they help your life when helping your life removes them? This is a government of criminals. I don't understand how you expect good from criminals. These people are supposed to be locked up in jail. There are some criminals that they will never change, and then you elected them as your leaders. In any other country, they would be in jail. They would literally, some of these politicians were in jail abroad. Literally, they were in jail abroad. They are convicts, drug addicts, and you elected them because you like them, because you are infatuated with power, because Nigerians don't use their common sense, right? All they like is, oh, I like this guy and I'm infatuated with his power. That's how they vote. They don't vote with, this criminal might steal all my money and run away with it. They don't care about that one. They think about that one after. But I just like this guy. That's why they will say somebody like Sowore can never be president. It should start from local government. But if you give them US passports now that they should take it, they will want to go to USA, where Donald Trump had no past antecedents, right? So it's just a bunch of hypocrisy. And I commend Tinubu, because Tinubu has to show this Nigerian shaggy. Do you understand? Some of them can still eat once a day. I think that is too much, right? I need Nigerians to not be able to afford food so much that they will not be able to eat once. They will be eating once a week. And then when somebody is trying to eat twice a day, another person will tell them, must you eat twice a day? Eating twice a day is a luxury. You must eat once a week so that your bone will be kicking out. Nigerians have not suffered enough. People think that they are suffering. No, they've not suffered enough. I need to go harder. I need him to go harder. I need fuel price to enter 2,000 naira. In fact, 2,000 naira is too small. Fuel price needs to, because too many people are using public transport. They need to start trekking to work, you know, before they realize that they are suffering. Because they like comfortable suffering. As long as they can still get through it and the suffering is still okay, they feel like there's no problem. I need Nigerians to start using horse to go to work. They need to start using donkey. They need to start trekking to work and trekking back. 3 hours journey, to and fro. That is when Nigeria will change. Since they are hard-headed, right? Let us push them to the limit. And that's why I like Tinubu. Tinubu knows how to choke you, right? Just up to the point where you are about to lose your breath, then you release it so that you have fresh air again. You know? So they need to choke more. They need to finish them very well so that they will finally use their common sense. They are still talking about tribe in 2025 and religion. These people are not hungry. Don't send money to Nigeria. Anybody that is sending money to Nigeria, I beg you, they are not hungry. They are not suffering. Stop sending them money, please.
All right. Thank you. In fact, I like your view and I appreciate it, because you see, for me, I like, young men, who are very zealous, because only by zeal that you can take your kingdom. And I like that which you have said. I like it when children tell the truth to their fathers, their elders, respectfully, and it makes a lot of sense. That's what builds a society that stands the test of time, and I appreciate that coming from you. I will come to my brother John Abba. John Abba has been following so far, and you have heard what the young man just said, and you also follow. I'm sure you followed our guest. What would be your own view? Also known that you are a man that speaks from the pulpit. What would be your view, sir?
KJ, nice to see you and a fellow panelists. The young man that spoke is very inspiring, and I hope we have more young people like this, because the future belongs to them.
I agree.
Yeah, I watched the interview of the young man that came to the show. I also understand that. Hold on one second. Okay. Yeah. So, sorry about that. Um, I disagree with him in many ways. First of all, Islamization of Nigeria is using that as a fear tactics to sell his book or whatever he's promoting. But I also understand a man that go through that experience, how his view should be in life. And he is no different from Buhari. What is different in his own case is that he does not have the who does not have the power that Buhari has to do what Buhari has done, because his extreme view of not even admit that some of those things going around the world, and he's a historian, according to what I heard, is very damaging to our future. If a man that will pass a message that people will read in the future have this extreme and dark view of humanity, is very saddening. And this shows that he's going to go through many other countries in his life, because it's not he will leave Philippines at a point, because this extreme view will put him in many trouble. And if that is the way he want to live his life, give people applause for the courage they have to do what they do. I also feel that there are many disingenuous voices here, but people can't give you what they don't have. If you are talking about Islamizing or Christian tech, it's both ways. If you want to go, so you'll be happy today if there are many Christians. Why don't you think that the Muslim will be happy if there are many Muslims? Those two religions are the religions that they have used to change the brain of African to the tree. And I hope people like Solly will not believe it. These people do not believe in anything, not even all these pastors, nor Islam. Not all of them is the same. And until we untied ourselves from this Iroko tree that they tie us with this religion, and then to make it worse, sometimes we throw tribal issue to it. Our problem is bigger than that. There are genuine Igbos, there are genuine Hausas or Fulanis, and we have seen that the reason why this thing happened, when people are disingenuous. I have some. Let me give you an example what happened yesterday here. Tony says something that he he will never be a friend to a Fulani man. He doesn't see himself like that, and he says sorry. And when I told him, and he said I do business with him. When I told him that you have a right to say that, but I was asking him to put him on notice, because he said he have Fulani friends that he does business with. In his that clip, this guy went crazy and then repeat what he's saying without measuring it. If we, the guy that will leave church on Sunday and look so gentle, what is wrong of you? You have a right to say that. But for you to come after me, so I didn't say that. Even the Bible tells us, do not be deceived. He that liar is of the devil. Be bold enough. And that's why the guy that came today, in as much I don't believe what he's saying or the historical thing about the Middle East, it's all baloney. There's nothing factual about what he's saying, but he's bold enough to believe in what he believes.
But
So
hold on, I have a question for you.
go ahead.
That guy's research is the only research so far on that topic around the world, at least that people can lay hand to. In other words, if you want to do a PhD or a thesis right now, or you want to do a master's in those areas, you're going to have to read some of his book to do your research.
And
So
that's
are
why
you
it's a
saying that
long
what
walk to freedom. That's why I told you it's a long walk to freedom, that when people that have that extreme view have the opportunity to put people things like that to the mind of the people and the future, it is telling, and you know what is going to resonate? It's still going to resonate in Africa. You're not going to tell any white person to come and read all those things and they believe you. And if they believe you, then it's because it's to their benefit, and it's still going to cause confusion in our land and the black space. There's nothing like that. If you don't believe that, I understand many of you here share the same sentiment, and I have no problem with you. I can't change you.
I have another question for you. And I'm asking this question because I want you to open up your mind, see, maybe for one, see the other side also. Now, many people has been untimely sent somewhere, okay? And these people have run into thousands now. And just 2 weeks ago, and said tribes, communities were totally chased away from their communities. Some of them are here, some of them have gone and will never come back again. And not one person made any No government made any announcement or even called the security forces to go after those people. Those people who chased them away are still in those communities with their animals. That's one. Two, there was a congressman, a man from Benue, his lordship, who came to the Congress to give his own first-hand account of what has happened to his parishioners and the community. Are you saying these people are being disingenuous with their what they're
No.
saying?
No. Now, the point is that the terrorists in our bushes, in the name of any tribe, whether it's Fulani or Igbo or Yoruba, if they are caught, they should face the consequences. Any places in Nigeria that being captured by whether a Fulani, a terrorist, or any organization, any tribe, it should be whole. But I want you to understand that it is the fear of so many of these our elected leaders or even the people in power not to speak for it, speak against it, and the consequences, which is a cowardice. That is true. But then that does not justify that a 16 people was brutal. Do you know the society where it happened? Do you know how the people will be traumatized? And you can say the same thing about every other places, such thing or what has happened. But when you say that these people, they are not coming out now, they are calling out that they will get to the bottom of it. They know what they can do. These people that are saying, whether it's the governor or the president, they are not naive. They just try to use that word to calm the situation down. Because if you do not calm it down, and people in the north right now, your brother, your sister, anyone that look like any one of us, they will fight them on the street just because of this. So what do you do? What you do is to call for unity and peace and promise to get to the bottom of it, at least to buy time, so that our people will not just die or anybody will just not die on the street. So when some such
Okay,
comment are used here,
hold on,
go
sir.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm still with you.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to give you two more scenarios. Now, 3 weeks ago, some very gallant officers were tied, their hands tied to their back, and AK-47 was ported on their heads, and that thing, trended. Nigerian soldiers were summarily, sent to go and be with their heavenly Father. Okay, Nigeria government till today have not made one broadcast about it. Not the chief of army staff, not the GOC. I mean, what do you call it now? The minister of defense or whatever. Nobody, not the president, not anybody. That's one. Two. This community in Delta State, where they said there was a misunderstanding between an army officer and that they went there to settle a case. What happened? That village was ransacked and burnt down. Okay. Now, what is the? I want you to. I'm generally asking this question. Why is that when it happens up north, it has no consequence? When it happens down south, it becomes a critical issue that we need to use the federal might to crush those people.
All lives matters in my own word, and I do not condone nor say it's okay for the people in power, the governor, the president, the army, chief of army staff, and all the people to condemn such thing. I think I've answered your question in my previous conversation that they've been cowardice and they are just been just being afraid of the consequences of the system in place. And that's why we are of the system to be brought down. And the only way the system will be brought down is to have the people with the right mind to be there to demolish the power. And I wanted to say that, I want to say again, power does not apologize. When people, it's either you are bold enough to confront it and you overcome it, or these people that have power will always turn against you. And I believe that the reason is that they are afraid of the consequences or the backlash, even to them all in that position. Nevertheless, doesn't mean that what happened broad daylight, that community will not be traumatized. And we cannot come here and use all kind of language. We will put our brothers and sisters in the northern area, the northern part of Nigeria in danger. Let call for peace, and let, even if they're not going to get to the bottom of it, is the wise way. And tell your brother Tony, I send you the clip of what he said, and you can open it up. There's no need of him coming here calling me names. It's not a match. I don't like that. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry for if you call you names. I, as the the moderator on this, at least sitting on this table right now, I think we are nobody is, whatever anybody says, they're not going to change Nigeria in the next 1 minute. So there's no need for us to make enemies of ourselves. By the way, we are hoping to meet you in Atlanta in the next few months. So we should make friends. So when we meet, we can all pop champagne. I know
I will
that.
try to be there and
Yes,
see
please
some of
mark
my
your calendar.
brother.
Mark your calendar. You're a very important guest. You have to be there. So we
Thank
all
you, my
can.
brother. I just
Yes.
want to have my own extreme view from you guys. You can flow now. I say it will be interesting to see by other people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm coming to
Okay.
Chim. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this whole Fulani killing. Sorry, the guys who were killed in Uromi. Personally, this is the first time I'm making a comment, and I've not made any comment on it. In fact, I haven't even read it so deeply. I just know that some people on the base level were traveling and they were killed because they were identified as terrorists, if I'm correct, or headers who were, mischievously moving around a forest that they're not supposed to be found in. If I'm correct, I hope if
No,
I'm correct.
they had. This is the story. Now I'm going to give you all the story because I followed it. They left River State.
I know that part.
They were heading towards Kanu.
Okay.
And they were passing through Urome. I would have thought that if you're heading towards Kanu, they would have gone through 9th Mile and not even go. They have nothing to do with Urome. However, that is where the story says that they were stopped by the first set of vigilantes and they refused to stop. So that vigilante now called this other group to stop them. So when they got to that place, they were already waiting to stop them. And on stopping them, they asked them where they were coming from. They said they were coming from River State and they were hunters. When they discovered some ammunition in their vehicle. The question people are asking and are saying is that they discovered den guns, and that den guns, is it what is den gun AK-47? But the question is that a den gun or AK-47 does the same thing. It kills. Abi? It doesn't, when you fire it, it doesn't ask whether it doesn't say, I'm a den gun, I'm a den gun. It doesn't say that. So anyway, the thing is that those people said they claim to be from River State going to Kanu. But the people in Urome said it is not true. Because by their own searching and whatever they found, it was now discovered that they had more than they were saying. Secondly, there's an unconfirmed story that when they confronted them, one of them stabbed one person. I have not seen the person stabbed, so I cannot justify that story. And it was based on that the people got angry and decided to set the whole place ablaze, including them.
Okay.
However, they were traveling as northern hunters normally do. They go with their den guns and they go with dogs. They also have dogs in that vehicle.
All right. So here's the thing. No magnitude or degree of jungle justice is applaudable. None. It doesn't matter. In a properly process-driven society, what you will do is to hand these people over to the security operatives. But anybody on this platform right now knows that we don't have a credible civil security process, which is the police. Nobody trusts them, because these are all these things happening. Should, if in a serious society, should raise questions, which means we don't trust the police. I don't know how many people really go to the police to report their incidences, because people don't trust the police is going to follow through and do the right thing. That's one. Then two is, how can you be from Kano and you're hunting? Do you have a hunting permit? I know we don't have those things where if you want to go and hunt somewhere, then you get a permit. I know. But that, be that as it may, I would not wake up from Abia State or anywhere in the south and suddenly feel I want to catch snakes, and that the only place I can catch snakes is in Kano, and I'll just freely walk into a forest in Kano and start hunting the snakes. It's not possible. It's not possible. It doesn't happen. So I think the problem with our society is that we're always constantly being dishonest. While it is good in one hand to say the people in Uromi murdered these people without necessarily allowing justice to play out, I agree on that. But we must also not forget the fact that you and I come from the same ward, let me put it that way, or will I say local government. And to be specific, it's beyond local government, but let's just, for people who don't know that you and I come from the same place, our communities are close to each other. You read recently how people went into my own community.
Yeah.
To go, and the same set of people.
Yeah.
Go and destroying farms, and then they met their untimely death, which scared a lot of people for a while. I don't know how the government of Abia State has resolved it. This thing is becoming too much. You can't, in fact, you and I, even though I come from the same community with you, I cannot from suddenly just walk into a forest in Nsukka for no reason.
You can't do that.
So this whole thing where people just, are not being rational to look at things critically. Security has become an issue in Nigeria, and there is mutual suspicion. How many Yoruba people do you see walking into forest in Benue State? How many Igbo people do you see walking into forest in a Yoruba land, for instance? It will not happen that way. Unless this is a land that was officially sold to you, and the people in that community already know that they've sold that land to you. Nobody in that, look at the volume of people. How many were they? And they just from river, okay, how did they get to River State and they're moving from river? They went hunting. There's no forest in all of the north, none in the middle belt. And it was in River State you went hunting. And then your hunting now took you through Uromi. I think Nigerians, we need to get serious and call a spade a spade. Why we will condemn the people who kill them for taking life? Life is precious. Don't kill anybody. But again, I can understand why some of those things are happening, because nobody trusts the security operatives. Lots of people in the past have been arrested and handed over to the security operatives to do their job, and they freed them. So you see, but because everybody is now we're falling back to each of our ethnic nationalities, and it's a dangerous thing to be doing, because once you start falling back, rationality and reasoning is thrown out the window, and it now becomes the proverbial everyone to himself and God for us. When any people get to that level, it's a very dangerous dimension. Very dangerous dimension. I just wanted to say that because I've been avoiding, because I haven't thoroughly read that thing. I've been seeing people making all sorts of comments, but let's be honest, you can't come from nowhere and walk to nowhere.
Thank you, Tim. It's a bit concerning, because River State is made up of water, mostly water, swampy, mangrove as we call it. I don't know animals that live in mangrove except crocodiles and other aquatic animals. So where is the forest you want to go and hunt? If it's Edo State, I can say Edo has a large, even at that also is made up majorly mangrove, waterlogged forest. Such animals don't live there. That you're going to hunt for, antelopes and all that, don't live in such a place. However, to give them a benefit of a doubt, we say that when such things happen, the police should be brought into play immediately. But here is my concern. My concern is, why is the whole of the North in flames to bring people to justice? This has not happened since this has been going on in other parts of the nation with this same particular set of people. And there's a part of the Southwest that's still they've not been able to go back to their community yet. The governor is still dealing with that issue. But this has not come to the attention of the national government. Okay? And that's where the concern is. But however, let me go to, unless you have any more to add.
What I just wanted to add before you move to Ike is that there is also a recent video circulating. Somebody woke up, cleared up land, prepared mound. I'm taking my time to detail so that we understand the economic magnitude of what I'm going to project. You till the ground, you know how we till the ground for our farming in the East, whether it is yam or cassava that you have put in, and then it goes through the cycle of the rainy season. You go through the weeding process during weeding season. When you know how weeds will come, you clear the weed, and then just before it's time for you to harvest your hard-earned farm activity, somebody comes with their cows in droves. Now, not only are the cows eating off the leaves, you see these individuals harvesting cassava and throwing it on the ground so that the cows can chew on them. And someone says it is okay. When you take these matters to the National Assembly, somebody in the National Assembly will not shudder and say, no, even though these are my brothers, I understand our cow needs to find water, whatever, pasture. But no. This is farmland that is being destroyed. Somebody went through all the process I just described for you. He cleared that forest or that farmland, tilled it, prepared it, and then you come and destroy it. And people sit down in the National Assembly and they don't look at it from an economic point of view. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. If it is that these guys were staying in their ranches and somebody scaled the wall and went and started slaughtering their cows, I would also defend them and say it's not wrong for you to enter their ranch and go and kill their cows. But the shoe is on the other side. This might be the only food this man has. Might be the only thing he's going to sell, and you have destroyed it. And nobody is flinching and saying, no, we can't have this happening. I think we need to wake up, because sometimes I read some people's comments and I'm like, in what alternative world do you really live? Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ike, yes, please make your contribution.
KJ, listen, I did make a comment yesterday about this. I don't want to continue to repeat myself. All I did say is that as a human being, I said it yesterday, as a human being, I cannot give life, so I do not have power to take life. Life is something that is precious. And we sympathize with the family that lost the people. But that is just a small screen to the reality of what your country is like today. You know, people have been killed every day. They kill people in Nigeria every single day. And nobody's saying anything. And that's why I said yesterday, I was telling my co-panelists yesterday, those who are sympathizers of the illegitimate government in Nigeria, that why are they waiting? They should declare a state of emergency in Ebonyi, declare in Edo State, declare in Benue State, declare a state of emergency everywhere, because there is emergency everywhere. And for anybody that is defending the point that somebody said is from Kano, he went to River State for hunting. I mean, I don't think that we as human beings, we are just reasoning. Are we trying to pretend that we don't, none of us even have a common sense anymore? And somebody from Kano went to River State to do hunting, you know, in Nigeria of today, right? I just feel that when Nigerians begin to tell themselves the truth, that is the only way we can find solution. Chim is just giving an example of somebody who wants to harvest his cassava. The rest is story. That is a daily occurrence everywhere. It's all over Nigeria. That is what is going on. The rest is story. People run away from some places in I think Ondo State. That's why I said that your president should declare a state of emergency everywhere. Why should it be only River State that should be declared the state of emergency? Because there is an emergency situation in Nigeria everywhere. So why are we why are we playing politics with it?
Okay.
Nobody saying whatever we are saying now, whatever we are saying here, we are not saying that we are happy that 19 people lost their life in whatever circumstances that happened. But what of the people that are being killed every day?
Thank you. Thank
and
you
they're
so
not
much.
human beings. They are human beings also.
Thank you.
So we are not encouraging, we are not saying that we are clapping our hands that it happened. No, because we don't know the circumstances why it happened and what actually those people, what are the mission and actually why we are their mission in River State. We haven't gotten any proof right from River State for people from River State to tell us, oh, they saw those 19 people, they were in their bushes hunting in the River State. So they were there making their hunting. So nobody can say actually what it is. So, but let us not pretend as if we don't know that people are being killed in Nigeria every day. There are so many people that have left their fans for so many. Those people that are living in IDP camp, are they not human beings? The whole life that have been lost in Southern Kaduna, who is talking about it? The people that have been killed in Southern Kaduna as a whole, who is talking about those people? And that's why yesterday when they were talking about El-Rufai, I was saying that if we are living in a decent society, immediately he left as governor of Kaduna State, he should be tried for ethnic cleansing because his 8 years in Kaduna State, he made sure that he slaughtered the citizens of Southern Kaduna. So what are we talking about? The people that live in ID camp are not Nigerians. Are they not human beings? The Boko Haram people and all the terrorists that they will release them, they tell us that they have put them into Nigerian military. What are we really talking about? Are we really a country?
Okay, sir. I appreciate your contribution. I'll quickly go to Kandu and I'll go to Benson. Please, and I beg your indulgence, all the other people are not coming to. And they would like to quietly just squeeze this, this time in and rush to discuss something very, very important before we round up because we are almost getting to our concluding time. Yeah, Mr. Kandu, welcome, sir. How do you do, sir?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
I'm
good
sure
conversation.
that discussion so far.
Yeah, I was listening from the very outset with the guest, and
Okay.
and um,
Make your contribution.
but this killing of people, I will never ever support the killing of any human being. I don't even care if the person has killed 100 people without going through due process. Many ages ago, I remember I was coming from soccer practice and I was at Oyingbo bus stop. And I noticed this guy's pickpocketing people. And it even got to a point where I didn't even want to get in my bus to go home. I was just fascinated seeing what I was seeing. And it got to a point that they actually caught someone. And from my observation, that guy that they caught was not one of the people doing the pickpocketing. And they beat this guy. They beat the living daylight out of this guy. They forced his mouth open, poured petrol in it, and set this guy ablaze in front of me. And I haven't witnessed the whole situation. And to the best of my knowledge, this guy was not one of the people that was doing this. I had to ask myself, what if that was me or my brother or my cousin whose life was taken like that? I remember a few years ago, some people were sharing a video of what was purportedly like a 15-year-old boy in Lagos that they said they burnt alive for stealing Gary. And I remember how incensed I was about that. I remember some of the response that I gave to the video, to the person, to the video that was sent to me, that you all should be ashamed of yourself. That a 15-year-old boy had to go around stealing Gary. every single one of you should be ashamed. You should go and bury your head in sand. Not only did a 15-year-old, he didn't go and steal a bag of Gary, at least according to the purported story. He stole Gary. And people are sharing a video of a 15-year-old boy that people that consider themselves to be human beings set ablaze. And I've asked myself a few times, am I related to these people, even by country? Maybe I need a DNA test. I don't even think I could be related to anybody that can think that that is okay, even by continent. You know, I don't know what those guys were doing. I mean, like a lot of people have said here, we've seen instances of this for decades. People being killed, the wrong people being killed. And apparently it's because we don't have a government. We don't have a structure. We don't, well, I know we don't have a government because the people like Babangida, instead of a bunch of people sitting around talking about they're celebrating him, a guy that confessed that he or they in conjunction with him went against the rights of the people. At a bare minimum, he should be arrested, investigated. You know, they can arrest him and give him bail because he's an old man. And people are celebrating that. I'm like, what type of, who does that? Who does that? You know, so evidently we don't have I mean, people cannot put in time and effort into a land, plant cassava, plant beans, plant corn, and somebody is able to go there. And like Chin rightly said, I heard I call them useless people in the National Assembly talk about, oh, the cows have to eat. If you want to run a cow business or a chicken business or whatever business, this is your job to figure out how you're going to feed your product. It's not my job to figure out how you're going to feed them. You can tell me that, well, they used to pasture those cows through there 25 years ago. That was then, this is now. So, I mean, obviously, I think even Buhari said something about that back then. I'm like, who are these people? Not only when they raise cow, then they raise cow for Brazil, Australia, everywhere. Which one be this? I mean, it's, we'll come here, God willing, next Sunday, another Sunday, a year from now, we'll talk about the same things. Unfortunately, there is no political solution. Separating this thing is not going to do it. The only hope that I have is maybe 7,500 years from now, there will be enough people with common sense to make this thing work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In case you know that those politicians who refuse to give Ontumosu a recognition were out there to recognize Babangida and give him all the accolades needed. Anyway, I'm coming to you.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, question I want to ask now, sir. You see, this thing that happened in Uromi, in those states, and within 24 hours, we heard that police swiftly came and packed people up into their vans and left. And as we speak, those guys have been sent to Abuja.
Yes.
Do you want to tell me now that most of those guys police have taken now that innocent people who are involved in that whisking away by the cops, that most of them might come back alive? That's just the question I'm asking, because some innocent people who have been arrested, some of them may end up not seeing the the light of the day.
Okay, I'll answer that straight on. Majority of them are come back. So that's just the truth. But let's move on because we still have one more ground to cover. Right, Mr. Benson.
Good evening, Mr. KJ.
Your audio is not very good, so I don't know how to help you. I've been trying. Your audio is bad.
Benson, a lot of noise from you.
Yes.
There's no noise here.
Hands free.
Yes, I'm using my phone. There's no noise here. Hands free here. Okay, thank you, Mr. KJ or Dr. KJ, Mr. Chim, and other panelists. Oh, it's unfortunate, you know. It's very, very unfortunate what is happening in Nigeria. And I think the thing is that the government is the cause of these problems. Because the government believe that the Fulanis, not even Hausas, are the first citizen of the country. They give them first priority more than the other people. The government is supposed to settle this problem, but they don't want to settle it. They're doing this for political reasons. They believe that, like this man ruling Nigeria now, he believes that if you want to stop this, then they will not get vote from the Fulanis. So they are trading our blood for this kind of nonsense. Let me say in South Africa or in Namibia, Namibia exports cow meat. That's what they get their part of their resources. But then, this cow they export, you can't see any cow moving from one farm to the other. All the farmers, mostly the white people, they have their this thing. What they call it again? Where they where they feed their farm. They have it.
Right.
Yeah, they have it. And they go and buy food. The food they buy grasses for them. You see, in Namibia, there's a place they sell grasses. They go and buy these grasses. Even they can travel 5 miles or even 20 miles or 30 miles or even to go and buy this thing for them and put them in one place so that they can be eaten. They don't do like this in Namibia. Even in South Africa, they don't. In Botswana, the same thing. So why in Nigeria this thing is different? Many times they have called for assemble, that nonsense assemble. They don't want us to settle this because of the political reasons or because they believe that the Northerners are more violent. So that is why these things are happening. Now, they're not are calling, instead of saying the Edo people that killed them, now they are transferred to the Igbos because they believe that the Igbos are more in their place than the Benin people and other
state who
other tribes. So that is why they always do this. You see, they're making ethnic profiling, which is wrong. Not the Igbos that kill them, and the people who kill these people. Well, it's life that lost, but I don't blame them so much because all the killings happen in the east, happen in Ibiri land, happen in the Yoruba land, happen everywhere. The government doesn't give much in order to go and arrest those people or not. They don't. But whenever this is happening, the Northerners they kill soldiers, they kill everything. But the president doesn't give much in orders. Only when it, like what you said before, the question I asked this guy, Abba, which you don't want to answer. So the thing is that this will continue until we find maybe the country get divided. If the country doesn't get divided, this will continue. And these same people also don't want the country to be divided. Even that is why Tinubu is doing what he did to them today. If it was before, they're not supposed to vote against Tinubu, but they don't want to vote because whenever they want to vote, Tinubu will tell them, I will regionalize Nigeria or I can divide the country. So that's why anyone they want to vote, they keep quiet. Tinubu can even destroy them. They will not say anything as long as he keep Nigeria one for them. Because they are the one enjoying Nigeria more than any other people in Nigeria. So that is why all these things, this will continue to happen. But my problem, this thing is this, like I said yesterday, our politicians are using enough for trade by barter. They don't care about us as long as they are there. They don't care about us as long as they are voted in. They're not even voted in. They don't care about us as long as the Northerners are given the power to rule us. That is why they always keep quiet. Even yesterday I said, Abaribe that is going to look for somebody to give honor is not what we need. I know if they want to give the man this is right, no problem. But people are buying in the southeast, they don't go there to protest. They only keep quiet. But somebody who already passed up, died, they want to go and say, give him his own. What honor are they giving to that person when we have people are buying in the southeast and southeastern? Even sometimes many people are asking, is Tinubu really a Yoruba man? Because if Tinubu is a Yoruba man, how can people of Ondo be dying? How can people of Oyo, all of these people, be dying? When Buhari was there, they say because of the Fulani, Yoruba is a Fulani man. Is Tinubu a Fulani man? Tinubu have the power to stop all these things, but he can't because he looking for power, looking for support from the north, and people are being killed every day because of the same nonsense they're doing. They're not even ashamed of themselves. Now they start jumping up. But all the while, people are dying in the east and everywhere. They are not even shouted. So they know how it feels that to die is to kill is not to die is not good. To kill them is not good. But they can kill others. They can destroy other people's lives. All the people that destroy, like people say, they burn them. In Ebonyi State, there was a retired police officer and his family. They burn them alive in their house in the night. But nobody's talking about that. Are those people not human beings? A whole retired police officer. Are they inspector or what? I don't know. They kill those people that kill in Benin and in Benue. They lock their houses, they put them and burn those places. Is it not that jungle justice? What are we talking about? We cannot do on this until heaven comes and goes.
All right.
Thank you.
So much. Yours beloved sitting here. I did I don't know, I can look for the clip, but I did a documentary, a short documentary on Dogona Hawa. Dogona Hawa is a place in Plateau State where they were, attacked. And that attack took away 500 people. I still, in fact, after that documentary, I couldn't sleep for some days because, anyway, I'm just trying to say that, see, if government act on time, some of these things will be averted. But what we see in our nation is that the government drags its leg, does not take any action, and then when things go out of hand, they begin to look for who to hold responsible. And I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Having said that, I will gradually move us quickly into our last discussion for today. And I will start with this clip. It's from Channels, but you like it. So let's...
Is supposedly a CN and in opposition federally. What's your thought about what has been happening, looking at it as a Nigerian? What's your thought about what's been happening in Rivers State?
Let me say prestissimo, that is as quickly as possible, that the political krinkum, or if you like, the political higgy-haga that has enveloped the politics of Rivers State for a period of time now has all the trappings of an odoriferous saga. Kum gagatwan gaga. And I am maniacally bewildered that this flashpoint is of no serious concern to the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is because all the flashpoints of war that has snowballed and transmogrified into bringing about a calamitous end for Nigeria always had their terminus arco, their source of origin, that is, either in one state or in one region. For me, as far as I am concerned, I can see the ship of the Nigerian state hovering around the political Bermuda Triangle. And if we do not take very urgent and responsible steps to meander the interstices of eschewable cataracts, landmines, waterfronts, icebergs, and oxbow-lakes. The shape of the Nigerian state just now has all the capacities and possibilities of birthing in a disastrous and pestilential aqua of a terminus ad quem. Let me say that my critical history and historiography of the study of the war of attrition and belligerency in Rivers State did not commence with the Obi-Okbo political tendency. It commenced, strictly speaking, with the suspicion by some power centers that Governor Rotimi Amaechi nurses an ambition for the vice presidency of this country.
So are you saying all of this is happening because of the 2015 election?
Oh, it's very crystal clear, like the biblical teke mene you fasting.
Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Okimale in Abuja. Happy Eid al-Fitr to all our Muslim brothers and sisters from all over the world and wherever you may be watching us tonight. And I hope that you're having a blast as you dedicated yourself into the almost 30 days of fasting. But as you are marking the end of the fasting period with prayers, so it was here in Abuja, where President Bola Tinubu and the Vice President Kashim
one Mr. Chijoke Ihunwa. I was there with them when a bag of money was handed over to Edison for that operation, though I did not actually know what it was meant for or the amount inside. I want to tell Rivers people today, the House Assembly was complex. In Moscow Road was clearly brought down by the issue of Edison and some of his cohorts. Under the instruction of the sitting governor then, I challenged them to an open confrontation, and this will make us to throw more light on this. Another attempt was also made to destroy the residential quarters of the House Assembly members, if not for the press conference that was made there by Rivers youths, Rivers elders, and National Assembly members. That would have been another barbaric demolition in Rivers State. I came to realize that they actually wanted to demolish that second building because after some weeks, the governor personally told me, a couple of others, that he knew that if he knew early, he would have gone to pull down their hall before visiting the residential quarters of the assembly, and that he didn't actually know what they had, that they had such a beautiful hall where they are using now for sitting.
That's a portion of about 10 minutes long expose or revelation, as we may call it, by Dr. Nwaezeigwe. Well, Dr. Nwaezeigwe's wife, Mrs. Lawrence Nwaezeigwe, had gone to town to claim that her husband is missing and his life is under threat.
He said that to cover the governor, that they have heard that it's his friend. They heard that it's his friend, though, that he's just trying to cover up. Master says he's not like covering up anything. That he doesn't think that there's anything like that. There's anything like 15 billion naira. That he's not aware. That he's not aware. That he's just the head of service. He doesn't know anything about finance of the state. So when they pressured him to sign that document, he said he will not sign. That instead of him to sign, he will resign. He just resigned. And called me in the office. I was in the office when he called me that he has resigned. I said, what happened? He said, till I come back. When I came back, I asked him. He started telling me that they brought a document. But that the document is that they found another $15 billion naira. 15 billion naira that the government did not declare. And he told that he doesn't know anything about that one. That what he handed over to them is what the governor handed over to him. And when they pressurized him, he said no, instead of all this wahala, let him leave them. He now wrote his resignation that he's not working again. He cannot come and sign what he does not know. He cannot come and sign what is not true. Where is the 15 billion naira coming from that he would not sign instead of signing him go? That was how he resigned. So this morning,
KJ, we can't hear you. We don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry also. I'm sorry, Chief. Thank you.
What's all this trauma you're putting us through?
Okay, I'm sorry that you guys were I thought we were having fun because that is the drama going on in a serious nation with 230 million people.
No.
What are we talking about here? That is another drama, another set of drama from Rivers State. And what is the discussion? The chief of staff of the former governor, the suspended governor, all of a sudden decided to grant an interview to expose the governor, who he claimed right before him handed over 15 billion to certain people, which he was hiding. Now, the chief of staff, that's the retired chief of staff now, or resigned chief of staff, said he was doing that in good conscience. And when the wife came out with the interview, he now wrote on X that he is not acting under duress, but that he made that interview.
Head of service, you mean, not chief of staff?
Sorry, head of service. Now, that interview he granted was done in Transcorp Hilton. Well, you're sitting here, KJ, I used Transcorp Hilton to do recording for one of my programs for almost 5 years. So I know virtually almost the colors and the different, sections of the Transcorp Hilton, and there's none, I repeat myself, there's none with such low quality curtain and no rug on the ground. None. There's no room. Be it just single rooms, or be it the presidential this thing which we are using. None. I repeat again, none has such low quality tables and low quality furnitures and low quality curtains and even windows. If you look at the windows, you can see the frame of the window by which is sitting behind. So first and foremost, because he had told that lie, I could see that it's a bit what we are hearing is not true. And if he's telling us he's in Transcorp Hilton, whereas he's not, and if you looked at the marbles on the ground, you go to Transcorp Hilton, the only place where you see marbles is when you're walking in, and those marbles are much higher quality value, more marbles than what you saw on the ground there. That's one of the low maybe guest houses or so there about government guest houses in Abuja. So he couldn't be sitting in Transcorp Hilton. Now that blew up everything for me, and more so that there's another video. If we had played from the beginning, you will see that the man was being prompted to read from their script, read from the script we gave you. So, gentlemen and ladies, you see, when we talk about Nigeria, some of us say we have lost hope. You people think we're just saying that because we want to be dramatic. This is what is going on. The people live in Rivers State. What is going to happen in Rivers State that as long as government is not releasing money, all the businesses in Rivers State will be taking a nosedive from now till whenever this nonsense is stopped. So I don't know if you guys saw it, and then the drama that the wife put up is very interesting. So I will come to you, my brother. Yes, Chim. Maybe you take the first salvo. What do you make of this? Have you seen it before, and what do you make of it?
I have seen it before, but recently I don't try to listen to all of those things. When I saw the woman and all those drama, looks very unserious. Looks very unserious, honestly. And I don't know why. Even in the US or Canada where I live, when they want to play this sort of politics, they don't play this kind of politics, by the way. But let's even say, because we are human beings, anywhere, there's no society where you might not have one kind of drama or the other. This is
okay. Ada is asking you. Adama is asking that he doesn't understand what does this head of service mean.
Head of the civil service, head of service. That's what they call them. Whoever heads the bureaucracy, they call the person the head of service. I don't know what they call them in the US. the person who heads the civil service in the US, but in Nigeria, the head of service, and across most Commonwealth nations, whoever heads that civil service at the federal or state level or provincial level, head of service, HO, like Dan has rightly said. But the point is this: all of this drama, just because you want to cage or look for something to hang on Fubara's neck, that's what it's all about now. You've removed him. It's not enough that you've removed him. So they need to look for congent, criminal things to hang on him so that they can use that as a basis to bring EFCC. And that's what it's all about. And I'm asking myself, is all of this necessary? Because the average Nigerian is the one receiving the end of the stick. Serious governance should be going, okay, you have removed the governor. If the so-called administrator is serious to go and do work that would keep the state in balance and serve the people, shouldn't he be involved in carrying on governance from wherever the governor left off for the benefit of the people? But that's not what is happening. This politics continues to go on. And remember, I said this earlier, when Natasha's case started coming up in another program, if you recall, the early morning program we had, I said, Nigerians didn't elect Natasha, didn't elect Akpabio, nor all the other members of the House of Reps and, of the Senate to go and be discussing sitting arrangement. That's not why you send them there. You send them there to go make laws for good governance, to make laws on how cost of living will come down, to make laws on how developmental infrastructure will be carried out, whether it is road or healthcare, to pass bills that will impact the lives of Nigerians. But whenever politicians bicker, whenever politicians engage in all this drama, it is you and I, the taxpayer, that suffers. So this is another evidence that the River State people are receiving the short end of the stick. So I don't know, and again, lastly, Nigerians, we need to wake up. The way at which we switch sides, our tendency for what's the word now? When somebody switches side, there's a word for that kind of person. Sabotage. Yes. You were on this camp. When that camp was going on, you were benefiting, enjoying. The moment the power shifts hand, it's like what Jonathan Goodluck said. On the eve before he left office, before the 2015 election, everybody was praising him. The moment they announced that Buhari has won and he officially congratulated Buhari, some people stopped calling him. That was the end of it. How can we live in a society where people behave like chameleons? One, at night, you are with Fubara. In the daytime, you have quickly switched over to Wike. This kind of thing does not, I don't get it. You should have principles. If I believe that KJ is right, and what KJ is doing is right, I should have the bold chest to say, I stick with KJ. That's why I will end with this. You see that man called Chief Abraham, Chief Adeniran Ogunsai. If anybody remembers that man, the popular man who a place in Surulere is named after, Adeniran Ogunsai.
Yeah.
That's one of the last persons in Nigerian quality that stuck his ground and said, you know what, this Zik is my pally. He's my political mentor. Till death, I will believe in him. He did never switched. I like anybody who you say this person, I'm with this person, I will die with this thing. I respect such people. Not all these, nilly-willy, snaky human beings. So I just think we just need to. We don't need all this drama. It's not necessary. It's not necessary.
Thank you so much. All right. I'll come to I before I come to Kando. I'll go that way around, and so we can move faster. Yes, Ike. What's happening? All right, Ike. Yes, please make your contribution. We are gradually closing, so you can equally make your final thoughts.
Naya mama be this show, you no get another one. Naya mama be this show. Naya mama be this show, you no get another mother. Naya mama be this show. That's Nigeria. It's the Nollywood country, right? So everything is all about Nollywood, right?
It is.
the head of service and the wife is doing drama for us. So I don't know who they're trying to put on high job. we already know where this is leading to. The man who is telling you that is in the high heat. I don't know any heat. I've never been to Abuja. I never would want to be to Abuja. So KJ has told us, listen, from the story of the wife from the first day, he said they were in the church or they want to do Thanksgiving. Somebody called the husband. The husband said, hey, listen, I'm going to Abuja. Why are you going to Abuja now? We said we want to do Thanksgiving. He said, no, they call him. And so from that story, you can see that he was given an order. If you don't leave that church service and take the next available flight, we'll come after you. So the wife is talking another story. And the man went to Abuja. He said he's not under hiding. He was not kidnapped. He's not under duress. He's not under gunpoint. So listen, all these things is to make sure that they rope Fubara. All this is wicked game, right? We all know who is playing all this microphone game. But at the end of it, like everybody said, it is the people of River State that is suffering. A single man has been given the resources of River State to sleep with it, run with it, grab it, do whatever you want with it. You are on your own. Anything you decide, nobody has power, nobody has authority to ask you questions, to ask you what are you doing with the money. So it is what it is in Nigeria, your country. I am not sympathy to Fubara. Because the Bible says that every hand that joined to commit evil you shall get. And I'm only concerned about the process, and I'm only concerned about the citizens and the people of River State, not Fubara. Because he was part of the gang he was the part of the gang people that rigged the election in River State. So I have no sympathy for him. Everything anybody is saying is not about Fubara, but it's about the process. That's what is concerning to me and the people of River State. That if you were able to remove an elected governor, no matter how he became elected governor and the members of the House representative, and you seize the money that you cannot release the money, now you appointed a retired military, a sole administrator, and you release how many billion to him? One man to run the affairs of River State. It is what it is. But there is something I know. There is something I know in this life. The Bible says, whatever a man sow is what he is going to reap. Wow. This is what it is. You might not believe it, but it is true. If you are going to reap it somehow. So we are watching this drama in River State. That's why I was telling forefathers yesterday, the secret admirer of the government in Nigeria. I said that I'm waiting for your man to declare a state of emergency everywhere. And appoint sole administrators in every state, at least so that we know that we don't have the democracy has gone, because we don't have National Assembly anymore, we don't have judiciary anymore, we don't have security anymore. So it is better that every place should be declared emergency rule, so that at least we will have peace, right? So Wike and their group and the River State, they are just hyping Nigerians, They were, hey, Jesus help me, oh, hey, Fubara help me, oh, God help me, oh, they take my husband, oh, they take my husband, oh. I saw the morning I saw him and Fubara was listening to the phone conversation. I can't understand anything. It's Jesus help me, oh, Jesus, they take my husband, oh, they say he take my husband, oh, they say my husband, Jesus, Nigeria help me, oh. I say, my brother, it is well. So
it is well. It is well. Yes, can do.
Yeah, since my elder brother, Mr. Ika, started with the song, there's a song from a long time ago, way back in Nigeria. He said, when the going is going good, many people will be your friend. When the going is nice and smooth, many people will be your friend. So it always amazes me why all these people, whether they're governor, Boy Scout leader, they don't understand that one day, and like one Yoruba song said, it said, chairman, Now praise they just they praise you. Everybody get here for in house. You know, when they call you, yes, Mr. President, yes, Madam this, yes, then go replace you one day. Especially when you know you won't get real value to bring to people. You know, I don't really know too much about this Fubara person, but if there is even an inkling that he was involved with, whether it's Obasanjo, whether it is Buhari or whoever, to steal a state's money or to divert it, even if they didn't steal it. And human beings can go and line up and vote for such a person. That is amazing to my brain. There is no way. If it be my papa, I no go vote for him. If it be my papa. So I don't understand how people. I mean, again, I don't know that whole story. I don't really, it doesn't really matter to me which one of them they be. But how can people vote for someone, that has, whether it was the one padding the book for Wike or for whoever, is immaterial to me. I don't care who and who is doing the dirty work at night and stealing Nigeria's money. So I don't know their politics. Obviously, I agree that their president should be declaring state of emergency on everything in that country. State of emergency on hunger, state of emergency on power, state of emergency even on the presidency. He should declare state of emergency on his own self, because nothing is working. We're not moving forward. So it's really unfortunate. We have mostly Agbero we miss road, which they just go school small for some place that are ruling us. A whole bunch of Agbero. You don't have to be an MC Oluomo to be an Agbero. A bunch of these guys are Agberos. Because if they are not, they will understand leadership is about what you leave behind, not about how much wealth you accumulate, especially ill-gotten ones. These are not leaders. They don't even know what leadership. If they see leadership, they won't even recognize it. Leadership is not about even how much, even if in your own personal world, you create a business or a number of businesses. It's not about how good you are. It is about how many good people can come through you. That's what leadership is about. Because you will go eventually. Every one of us is going to go. But how many people do you leave behind that will be able to point that, this person, he or she came from Mr. Lagbaja, this person. That's what leadership is. And like I've said, and I will continue to say, with the likes of Sheyi Tinubu and all these people's children, it's going to be a rough time in Nigeria over the next 25 to 50 years, honestly. Maybe
Thank you.
when all of their children are gone and me, I'm gone, and people like that are gone, maybe we'll stand a chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think one of the things, our contribution from this channel is that we don't want to wait till we are gone. We want to make sure that our children will enjoy and see. We also be part of it. We will not wait. We will not wait. We'll keep talking until there's a change. Thank you so much. I will come to Benson. Yes, sir. The Benson Emmanuel.
Mr. Dr. KJ.
Okay. Is it your audio or ours?
It's not my audio. Nothing is here. It's not my audio. Is it okay now?
Try it again. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the thing is this. Other countries are improving. We are going back. Other countries are moving forward. We are moving backwards. The process of electing leaders in Nigeria are skewed. We don't have a good process of electing people in Nigeria, and Nigeria has been stolen by some foolish, greedy people, human beings. And when you look at these people, you'll be thinking, these people didn't hear about how much Abacha stole, how much Abiola had and all these people, you know. And at the end of the day, where are those money? It's like the devil has blocked all their ears. That's what Nigeria is. And it will continue like this because the next president that is coming is looking at what is happening today. And his own will be the worst because we are failed to rise up. And in Nigeria, before Nigeria can get up or something good will come to Nigeria, it's only when there is revolution. And that revolution will not come. Because why? What the agenda of the North is different from the agenda of the Southeast or Southwest. That's the problem. So if that, you see, when this man, this armed robber that is ruling us now, before he come in, he knows about Nigeria very well. He studied Nigeria very well. He knows that we cannot be together. He knows that can never be any revolution. He knows that we are not united. So that is why he's doing what he's doing. You see, and this Wike issue, this River State issue, Wike is in good time with the chief of staff. So that is where they're doing all these things, you know. And the chief of staff, you know, when a president comes and bring his own boys, his own boys, the chief of staff, armies this, police this, the court, the justice, and all these things. When the man put all his boys into what do you expect? So whatever those people want to do, it's what they will do. So the country is like, for me, people may not like Fubara. I don't know Fubara, but for me, what Fubara took, I like it. Maybe he has been following Wike to commit some atrocious, some evil things in rigging election and all the rest. But when it comes to the time it matters, he didn't want to give that give him River State money to Wike, which I like. He backed out. He has a conscience. He can't, because he want to be he want to continue to stay there. Then he's giving the money of River State to Wike, giving percentage to Wike. So I like what he did. Honestly, I like it. So for Wike to turn back and start dealing with him, not Wike that is dealing with him. The person dealing with him is the president. Nigerian president, the one dealing with him. And the Wike, for him, let me tell you, Wike, they will also disappoint him. When this man use him, maybe get a second term, they will drop him. That's what they will do. They are just using him, but he's destroying his state. Let him continue destroying his state. Let him continue doing what he's doing. What I know is that they will disappoint him. All this nonsense, the chief of the head of service and doing, and the wife and this are drama. Everybody know that they are lying. Everybody know that nobody. No Nigerian police have even a conscience. All those people, those useless people, both in the Senate and none of them have conscience. So the man coming out to tell us you have a conscience. Which conscience? You have a conscience all along. You don't have the conscience. Only now that they call you to threaten you on this, that's when you have the conscience.
All right. Thank you so much. And I appreciate what you're saying. And I want to reiterate, we are not concerned about which political party, who is on top. We are simply concerned about the resources of River State. And that's what you have outlined. It is very important that people know that that's what you are after. You know, you cannot dismantle an elected governor and say because you are trying to protect democracy. It doesn't work anywhere and any place that I've known. So, having said that, let's bring in Chisco, Bob Chisco. Can you tell us your final view? You have 2 minutes, sir.
Okay, let me just make it snappy. Yeah, you see, this man and the wife, it's very, very obvious to people that watch that clip that this
okay, it's like this your head. This what is the personal problem. If you if you take it up a bit better, it is starting our audio. Yeah, if you unplug it, it's better for us. Okay, can go ahead.
I wouldn't know why it is disturbing. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, very loud and clear.
Okay. So this man, it is very, very clear to anybody that watched that clip that just as you said, he claimed to be in a hotel, is in a Hilton or whatever, and someone is before him dictating what he reads. That's the child's play.
This is the man that have stood. You claim to be the head of the civil service. That civil service means that you are in charge of all the civil servants, in that office. And you have been with the governor. Governor has been removed. And who knows how much Wike has been able to give to him. That man stole River State to stupor that he can dole out any amount of money to corner you to himself. So I believe that is what happened. That man will be able to fly from Port Harcourt to Abuja, and he was put in a hotel to make such a crap video. And look at the wife. He was even blaming the wife that the wife was reading a script. So, which means both of them did not. I don't know how to sum up these two scenarios. The wife is there doing her own drama, crying that they are taking her husband. To the extent she called the governor, begging governor to help. He saw the governor there on the phone with the woman. To the extent the governor was even pitying the woman. Is that how your husband wants to pay me back for all I did for him? Man, that is a height of betrayal. It's a height of betrayal. But as some of you have said, that a man who decides to betray someone who helped him out, that man doesn't deserve to live. Honestly speaking, that man will regret what he has done, because it is very, very clear, even to me, that Fubara, for all those accusations he leveled against Fubara did not do all those things, So as per Wike, the rumor that had it that he slumped and they flew him to France. I don't know anything about that, but I think that man too, he's getting closer to his own political Waterloo. He's getting very, very close to his political Waterloo because of all these atrocities he's committing. If I ever disappoint PDP, may it never be well with me. Hasn't he disappointed PDP? Is he getting better with him now? Is he getting better with him now? People are comparing two pictures of when he was heavy, very, very heavy, and looking good, and how he looks now. Alcohol has destroyed him. Ogogoro has destroyed him. Everything. Look at how shrink Wike is looking. I'm afraid. In fact, that man, I don't know if you conduct a survey in Nigeria out of 100%. I don't know if Wike will get up to 5% of people that like him. That man is a devil. He's a devil, honestly speaking. Thank you, my brother. And I think it's a lovely day. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I want to agree with you. I interviewed Wike when he was the local government chairman of Obikpo local government. Fine man, fine, young, and we were all happy with him. When I went there with my colleague, both of us had a good interview with him. But today, when you look at Wike and his reaction, you wonder where the water pass enter the trend on.
40-year-old whiskey.
All right, coming to the final guest for today is our able chairman, the president of the Association of Moderators Council of the World.
KJ, you're not talking to me.
Oh, sorry.
Richard, I've been here for years.
Sorry, my apology, Mr. Richard. You are going to. We have to reserve our president for the last word.
Yeah, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, here in Germany, it's almost 1:45 in the morning.
I'm sorry. Please make your contribution. Because of that, I add 1 more minute or 2 minutes. So you have 4 minutes.
Please. Yeah. Okay. I just want to, like what John Abba said about our guests. I found it very disturbing. John Abba has right for to his own opinion, and everybody has his right for his own her own opinion. The man, what he said, that the man is running around and maybe he might end up like, something like that. That is very disturbing. What I said when that man was there, when our guest was here, this man, what he said is not more than what Sheikh Gumi, other northern clerics or northern elites have, academicians or intellectuals have said in Nigeria. But he's on the run, in exile for what he just said about the Islamization or the Islamization of Nigeria. Even Even Olusegun had to, Obasanjo even said the same thing. But this man, because he's an Igbo man from Delta State, he's on the run because of what he said, what is going to happen in Nigeria, and what he said then is what is happening today. Now he's on the run, and somebody is coming here to tell that he's an extremist, and he will end up like extremist. You can also disagree with him, but telling him, wishing him that he will end up like that, I found it very, very, disturbing. You understand what I'm saying? Because this denial, that's why that's why we are not moving anywhere in Nigeria. John Abba is from, I think he's from Benue State, and he knows how many, almost 2.something million Benue people are living in IDP as we speak. Under Samuel Otom, you saw what that man suffered under him when he was the governor of Benue State. He was almost attacked and killed, because he was defending his own people. Even 2 days ago, before this thing happened in Uromi, 10 people were murdered in Plateau State. They were even mourning. They were mourning. And they were attacked, 10 people. There was no outrage. The northern elite did not condemn that act. There was, in fact, you didn't hear anything from the head, from Tinubu. But that thing happened in Uromi, and the whole Nigeria is outraged. Everywhere there's anarchy everywhere. Even as I speak, an Igbo man was murdered today in Kano State because of this Uromi something. And one Ichukwu was murdered in Kano. So, and somebody is telling you, why are you doing this? What people are saying is that, why should it be when it happened against one particular people, it will be everywhere, the network, the media, president, police, everybody will be, talking. But when it happened to other people, it will be so quiet. As we speak in Mafu, in Enugu State, people are living in IDP because people are coming and attacking them in their own ancestral land. And when somebody talk about it, John Abba is telling you, you guys are emotional. What do you mean by emotional about it? I condemn the killing of those people in Uromi. I hate jungle justice. But just as other people are being killed in Nigeria too, you have to be, condemn this thing, come out and say, this is not going to continue like this. What that young man, that professor is, said, is not far away from what other people are saying. But wishing him that he should end up like this, I found it difficult, very, very offensive. Lastly, River State issue. Those guys, they know what they're doing. There was even the first clip that came when they were telling the man, do it this way. The man to say something like a human, like a hero. I don't know whether you watched that clip. These people are clowns. They're clowns. They're not human beings. They're clowns. They're people that it's about Rivers money. And that's what Abuja like. Abuja likes, I said it last time when I was in America. What they like is that because River State was created this way. River State was created because of Igbo people. And Rivers, that's why it's about money in River State. River State is the cash cow of Nigeria. Look, I've told you my mother is from River State, from Igurunta. Go there, you will cry. They'll take the whole money, take to Abuja, take to Lagos, and then fabricate crisis. Use stooges like Mwike, like Amechi, use them to cause trouble in the states. Why they're taking the money to Lagos and Abuja? 4 years from now, Mwike will be gone. And and River State will remain a desolate place. They are clowns.
Thank you so
Good
much.
night from here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for waiting and being patient to contribute. We appreciate you. Each time you come, your comments are very, very welcoming, and they are highly appreciated. Thank you. Again, what he's saying is very true, and the guest that came, like I said, I try to make him understand, and our listeners or viewers, as the case may be, that doctor is a research fellow. He is one of the, if you're going to study anything on Middle East, you must come across 1, 2, or 3 of his books, except you don't want to do a proper research. So, and if anybody dismisses his view, I don't know how you're going to start. Because even in academic work, even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, you must first also refer to my book. When you refer to my book, I have been able to, exhaust it by way of, appreciating it. Then you bring your criticism or whatever you feel that is not in line with what you are thinking. That's the basis of research. I don't know if there's any other method of research that is different from what I'm talking about. So even when you think that whatever the individual has written is not correct, you still have to read it, refer to it. If not, your research will be thrown off the paper. Thrown off the window. Anyway, that's a different discussion for another day. Forefather, you are welcome. And I want to say to the viewers that Forefather is going to run another broadcast after this broadcast. So please
I never said that. When did I say that?
You said that yesterday now.
No, it's a bit late now. I didn't create any live.
How can you say that? Do you think I'm somebody who did?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this.
Say you are changing your mind, but you don't make it look as though I carry the wrong distance.
It's okay.
Okay, so Forefather will be coming up, and so you guys just hang around. He has a lot of topic we're going to discuss, and once this stream ends, he's going to start another fresh stream. All right, Forefather, give us your view. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add regarding the previous discussion where they were about the guests. I've said it before. If you don't like democracy, you go for dictatorship. If you don't like Islam in Nigeria, then you may want to consider increasing your population. This is a democratic country. If the population in the north is growing faster than the population in the south, don't be surprised the country is turning more and more Muslim. In 50 years from now, we'll have 67% northern population in Nigeria. So you might as well start practicing facing Mecca. Make your peace with that. Or you increase your population, or have an alternative plan that is going to aid you in adapting such an environment. It's just what it is. Or maybe you have the northerners realize that maybe Islam is not the way, because maybe African own religion is the way to go. You pick and choose. There are so many options to pick and choose. And it's not only in Nigeria. There are countries that where you have even vast majority Muslims that are running relatively well. So why are we worrying about whether it's a northern or southern religion? The Christians are foreign. The Muslims are foreign. They are all foreign. And we are all killing each other over some other people's religion. That said, some of the pronouncements that the guests made about the Quran, the verses are correct, but it has no context, and that is sometimes quite problematic in our discourse. Like some of the statements about not having non-Muslims for friends. That is in the context of fighting the Christians and the Jews. They claim betrayed their agreement in that region during that time. And the time that was used was referring to those people, not necessarily the entire world. But I guess anybody can extrapolate it and say they are referring to the entire world. If that was the case, then you would never have Muslim nations that have alliances with non-Muslim nations in the world. That is more of a realistic interpretation of the book, because otherwise you will never see any Muslim nation that has agreement with any other nation, but they do. In the case of Rivers State, the president is responsible for what is going on there. It's hard to deny that. Fubara is not exactly your rabid, showy kind of minded people. He's part of the establishment. He wants to control his own state as the governor of the state. If that interest coincides with the interest of the people, that's where the president is supposed to go. But instead, what they are doing is the president is empowering Wike to obstruct the activities of the governor in his own state. Whatever is going to happen from this, the president is responsible for it. And if Ubara falls from office, which I actually think is less likely now, because if he falls, it's going to be on the president from office, because there's no way he can escape that responsibility for removing a governor from office. And if you want to investigate the governor, how will you investigate the governor? He's supposed to be immune for prosecution at this stage. You're supposed to let him out of it. The only thing that you probably want to do, give him a bad name so that the lawmakers can go ahead and finish him off with an impeachment. So that is the strategy they are probably pursuing. And it doesn't hold this augur well for that state at all. For the life of me, sometimes I feel like I'm confused. Maybe I'm confusing myself. Because I know full well why this president is doing this. They don't care about the people at all. They are not governing for you. They are just creating chaos in the country. They pretend as if they are trying to help the country. Okay, now look at he decided to ban import of solar panels because he wants the indigenous ones to grow. What has he really done to grow the indigenous market significantly? Do they even themselves patronize indigenous products? Does he use indigenous cars? All this behavior that you see, they just pretend to do the right thing. They do one right thing that is in terms you can't argue that is wrong. But they go and do something else to sabotage that very thing that they just did. If you say you want stability, why are you creating chaos in that state? That is, it doesn't need to happen at all. Fubara, Wike, and Tinubu can be friends. There's no reason why. They are all in. All they have to say is, Fubara, you are now one of us. We'll let you do your own thing a little bit. That's all. But they won't even let him get that. I don't like the statement the previous speaker made that they created Rivers State because of Igbo people. People shouldn't be doing that. Because it makes it look like the Rivers people don't have agency. Majority of that state are not Igbo. I hope people understand that. Even as Rivers State is and they're taking Bayelsa out, majority is still not Igbo people in that state. So it's not fair to be saying they created Rivers State. Otherwise, then they will not create any Igbo state too. They created Igbo states because of Igbo who are there too. It's just the same thing. So we have to try to see things objectively, because I see some of the discourse that people are having about this, and it seems to be tilted towards ethnic coloration and political kind of bias. Personally, I hold the president responsible for everything that is going on there. One other thing somebody said about Wike, whether it's going to end well for him in politics. When he was saying that, I just thought about the Nigerian political space, and the only person that I've seen in Nigerian politics that has ended up where he wanted to end up to an extent, and he was happy. It was President Buhari. President Obasanjo didn't want to leave office. He wanted a third term. He was kicked out. Yaradua perished. He died. He passed in office sadly. Jonathan didn't want to leave in office. He was kicked out. The only person that wanted to leave the office that actually left office happily wanted to run away from office is Buhari. And I fear, and I think this current president is not going to leave office well. There are very, very few politicians that leave office happily and looking forward to leave office. And this president is not going to leave office well, because the way he's approaching politics is a very, very forceful and damaging one. Not because he's doing the right thing. Somebody is doing the right thing by, knocking people's head together, making sure things happen. And yes, a few people's rights here and there are violated. People will still support that person. That's why they support Trump. They don't care whether Trump is violating some rules. They just care he's doing what they want him to do. If Tinubu was doing that, people will be backing him. The problem is that he's doing that to the detriment of the people and what the people do not want him to do. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, forefathers. Like I said earlier, forefather will be hosting a show, maybe not up to 3 hours, but he will give you people an opportunity to air for those who have not been able to air. And I'm talking particularly for Pansa, who think I don't know how to put in the link, but it's okay. I take no grudge. We are totally supposed to have ended since 3 o'clock, but because Poor Father is our president in the Moderators Association of the World, we have to give him time to be able to express his view so that I can still be able to pay salary at the end of this month. So having said that, I want to again say thank you so much for everybody who have contributed, those who are on the keyboard and those who were here present with us by, and all your views are welcome. Nobody has it all, and nobody's going to change Nigeria by whatever we say on this platform. The highest we will do is to contribute our quarter, and this is our quarter. I will keep talking until change comes. Having said that, I also want to say that it's not an Igbo thing. Already people in Kano, I heard that somebody has also been killed because of what happened in Urome. And people are saying, now they're saying Urome is made up of Igbo people. Majority people living in Urome are Igbos. I don't know how that comes. The Igbo people are always the poster boy. Whenever anything happens, they will throw Igbo into it just to make it sweet. If a man quarrels with his wife, they will say it is the Igbo man who is their neighbor that caused them to quarrel. So the Igbo man's shop will have to be burnt. I don't understand it. And that is why sometimes it's difficult to discuss outside of these lines already drawn, which is not necessary. We have to find a way to deal with it before it becomes too bad. And then on the issue of rivers, we are only concerned for the people. We know that the people didn't vote the present government in. We know that they also got themselves in. We are saying to the people, instead of just voting and going back and saying, okay, we have done our best and they are there. No, let us defend our vote the next time. If what you vote, if you order for lemonade and you don't get it, and they give you orange juice, refuse to take it. Go back and receive your orange, lime juice that you ordered for. Don't let anybody give you what you didn't order for, which is what is going on in Nigeria. We appreciate all of you, and we thank you so much for being here. I would not like to leave you without leaving you with something that comes from my very senior uncle, and I think you will like it. And with that, I say thank you to Pansa. Please, Pansa, be patient for Father will take up the challenge.
Let me say prestissimo, that is as quickly as possible, that the political krinkum, or if you like, the political higi-haga that has enveloped the politics of Rivers State for a period of time now has all the trappings of an odoriferous saga, cum gagatwan gaga. And I am maniacally bewildered that this flashpoint is of no serious concern to the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
On that faithful note, I will say at this political kunkaka, I'm also bewildered that the people of Nigeria are not rising up to the occasion. We need to do more than we're doing. That's how great countries do and become great, by standing up against injustice, be it to one or to many. We must find a way to stand against injustice in Nigeria. On that faithful note, from Dr. Damages here, we say God bless you all and have a wonderful and prosperous weekend ahead. Yes.